sip our worries away, nice and slow. Your laughter ripples like sweet warm wine. In this jazzy sultry space you're mine. The saxophone croons a velvet tune, while melodies dance beneath the moon. We'll toast to moments both grand and small, in this hazy, lazy, jazz-touched hall. But let's sit together in the mellow night. We'll drink to love till the morning light. Every glass we raise a promise true. Here's to the magic in a drink with you. Your eyes, they sparkle with every click. Sweet rendezvous over a simple drink. We'll share our secrets in whispers low, just you and me where the jazz flows slow. The world outside fades into the mist, but here it's our own dreamy tryst. With each sip our worries drift away. Let's stay together till the break of day. So let's sit together in the mellow night. We'll drink to love till the morning light. Every glass we raise a promise true. Here's to the magic in a drink with you.
The following live stream has been approved for appropriate audiences. It may contain occasional strong language and may not be suitable for younger or more sensitive viewers. Viewer inebriation is advised, though not mandatory.
With the departure of David Tennant, showrunner Russell T Davies also exited to be replaced by Steven Moffat, who had written some of the most beloved episodes of the RTD era. He was not as good a showrunner as he was a writer. Arguably, this heralded a downfall spiral similar to the post-Davison era. What's not arguable, unless you're insane, the end of this period marked the end of Doctor Who, at least for the foreseeable future. And it will also wrap up our multi-part Doctor Who retrospective. So top off your glasses, tell me what you're sipping on in the chat, stare into the untempered schism, and we'll roll this Canarble TARDIS right now, or 1,000 years ago, or 1,000,000 years from now.
Last Call is streamed before a live audience.
Nava salud, welcome. How are you all today? Hope you're doing well. What am I sipping on? Why am I getting such latency? I don't understand. What am I sipping on?
So I'll have a vodka martini. Dirty.
Like that too.
There you go. That's what I'm sipping on.
Yay.
Let me know what you're sipping on in the chat. And we'll say hi to the panelists, starting with my designated driver, because I am drinking a double vodka martini. Aged Boomer, what are you sipping on, my friend, and how are you doing tonight?
Right now I have a water, but I may be getting an orange high C in a little bit. But I'm doing good tonight. Just recouping from finals week, but I am back and ready to discuss
your favorite doctor? I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, here's what it is. I will say this. I really like Capaldi, and it's funny because I thought about going with old man Matt Smith from his final episode, but then I decided, we'll do Capaldi because probably Capaldi actually is a boomer. a full-on baby boomer if we think about it.
Could very well be. You may have a point there.
Yeah.
And that means a whole lot more to people that grew up in the UK, I think. But there you go. Yeah. And Netter of Netters Network, you had a brutal week too. How are you doing now, my dear? And what are you sipping on? We haven't really come up with a name for it yet, have we?
No. We're calling it the end to a brutal week.
There you go.
It is cranberry pineapple juice with Malibu rum.
It's a little coconut kick there.
And yesterday when I said I was looking forward to my stream because the day was horrendous, I was really looking forward to my stream because the day was horrendous.
And when I said we were both looking forward to our adult beverages, we really both meant it.
Yeah.
When she's feeling that way, you know she's had a week.
I know what you can call it.
What's that?
A Zygon transmogrifier.
Zygon transmogrifier.
I probably won't remember that name, but I like it.
I'm just throwing it out there. Actually, we do have the Zygons to talk about.
We do. We'll get to that. That's actually one of Peter Capaldi's best episodes. I want to start by saying hi to Colleen O'Brien. Good to see you again, my dear. She says she's bummed. I'm going to miss your discussion of 12. Have a great show tonight, everyone. Well, as Netter points out in just a few minutes, you can always catch the rewatch. So, you won't have missed anything. And if you do come back to watch the rewatch, please leave a comment down below so I know that you were here. I'd really love to hear your feedback and your input. And speaking of Netter of Netters Network, of course, I love you too, my dear. And then Ruby Hoove stops in to celebrate. She celebrates 1 month of membership and says, hit the like button. Then she gifted a membership to
me.
Netters Network. Well, there you go. Thank you very much, Ruby Hoove. She says, I can't stay. Everyone have a wonderful evening. Look, she's celebrating 1 month of membership. She gave a gifty to Netter, and she dropped the $2 super chat. I think we got to do something for her here. How about, here we go.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
There you go. I do really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Ruby Hoove. Connie Cleary, the bird woman of YouTube. Thank you so much for being here, as always. Big Al Presents says, have a great stream, my friends, and hope everyone has a great weekend. I do too. I hope we all have a great weekend. Jesse Green 619 says, hello, Netters Network, Connie Cleary, and Big Al Presents. Looking forward to this one. Yep, so am I. Oh, and Geek Flag with Nate Knows says, fezzes are cool.
They are.
They absolutely
So are bow ties.
They absolutely are. How about this one?
Thank you.
There you go. There you go. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Darth Plato. Bow ties are cool too. Yes, if you know how to tie a bow tie.
I've never tried.
If you're doing a clip on, shame on you. Looks like Romulan ale. Oh, this my martini is kind of clear. Romulan ale is blue.
Yeah, and this is pinkish red.
Netter's is looks like blood wine. That's good. That really is good.
Yeah, I mean, my juice is warmer because I've got to refrigerate it first. But yeah, it's just pineapple. Cran pineapple juice with Malibu rum.
Darth Plato wants to start a tab. That's fair. That's fair. I think we can arrange that. You're good around here. I'm sipping on a giant grocery store brand root beer, and it's not bad. Okay. For a minute there, I thought you were going to say you were sipping on something out of a grocery bag. Robert's Infinite Realms. Welcome. What's up, everyone? Good to see you, my friend. Salute. Let's see. I'm going to unsub so that I can get a free sub. Well, here's the problem. This just came up on...
It's a membership, not subscription.
Oh, well, yeah, unsub so I can get a free. Yeah, no. Subs are free. Subs are always free. It's the membership that, and I think that's what you meant. But, yeah, as, who was it I was just watching recently? Was it Culture? Or
Probably,
maybe it
'cause-
was Viva Fry. Someone was saying, how do I win a gifted membership? And the host says, well, you don't. It's just completely random. There's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah, it's like when I first started seeing those, I thought you had to like click on something really fast to be able to claim one until I discovered it was all random.
It's completely random. And you don't even have to necessarily be in the stream at the time.
Oh, yeah. I had missed Loki's Morning of Mischief and found out that I had been gifted a membership and I wasn't even in the stream.
Yeah. Let's see here. I need a sound check, guys. I know that my camera seems to be a bit sluggish. I want to know if my mic is coming through or if I'm slowing down or if I'm roboting or something like that. Salute to deleted
from a Doctor Who episode with you slowing down.
Yeah, I know, right?
You're slowing down time?
Yeah, possibly. I was going to ask you, Deleted. I wasn't sure if that was from Unbreakable. I just don't remember. That might be the scene where he's talking to the boss about getting the day off or whatever it was. Fezzes are cultural appropriation nowadays. You're not wrong. Well, unless you're a Shriner. I mean, I guess that's okay, right?
Okay, I want to give everyone a helpful hint.
Okay.
When I am like having a really bad day, I want chocolate. Chocolate has endorphins. Endorphins makes you happy. Okay. Well, we didn't have any chocolate bars. What works in a pinch is chocolate chips, like for baking. I happen to have some that were milk chocolate, so I ate about half the bag yesterday.
So Robert's Infinite Realms is sipping on something very strong and strawberry flavored. Just got back from a local wrestling show.
If you want a strawberry liquor, what's the one we have upstairs? It's strawberry.
Strawberry rum, I think.
Yes, but who makes it?
Oh no! It's Bailey's strawberry cream is what it is.
I told Troy now he has to get Malibu banana rum so I can mix the banana rum with the strawberry liqueur and have a strawberry banana something.
Okay. Everybody's saying my sound is good. I'm 5x5. All right. What I'm probably going to do, I am at the end of the chat. I made Boomer groan first. Yeah, there you go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop out. I'm going to reboot my computer, and Boomer, you're gonna run things while I'm gone. So
what?
Yes.
How long is this going to take?
I don't know. This is Windows. This could take a
doing
long,
his job.
long
I think that's a
time.
write-up right there.
There you go.
Just do it. Let's get it over with. I guess I got to talk to the chat.
See you in a minute or two.
Everyone excited to talk about Moffat era Doctor Who? Huh?
Well, certain doctors. I did like Matt Smith.
I don't know why this is.
And Capaldi was Troy's favorite.
Yes.
And after Matt Smith, I don't think there are any doctors.
After Matt Smith. See, poor Capaldi. It's because he's old, isn't it? Hello? Am I alone? Oh, I guess Netter's not here anymore. Well, Smith, who is the best who? That's fine. I have nothing against either of these.
Yeah, when Troy goes out, I'm still muted. So,
I see.
Capaldi was okay, but he just kind of annoyed me because he was like so smug. I don't like smug.
Matt Smith was kind of smug. He was kind of weird, though. I guess that made up for it.
He was weird and cute, and that's I like weird. I'm sorry, but because I'm weird.
Peter Capaldi, with genetically engineered to be the Doctor, he just had lousy writing. We're going to talk about the some of the creative decisions behind this era, the Moffat era. Yeah, but I don't know. I like the dark angle to Smith Who. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, Connie
Uh,
Cleary, she says, for me, anyone after Peter Capaldi isn't dead to her. But you know what? Dr. Her, no. It stopped before, as soon as she started, nope, everyone else doesn't exist.
well, we know what got Troy very angry about that. It was the whole timeless child thing. I think I
Same
had
here.
tapped out. All due respect to Tom Baker, I think Peter Capaldi may be the best Doctor Who, even though his stories could have been better. Matt Smith is my favorite of the new era. That's interesting.
Because bow ties are cool.
Yes. But I remember though, Matt Smith was really where Doctor Who kind of takes off in the United States. This was when Doctor Who became popular in the United States. Doctor Who was not popular in the United States, despite what people may think in the revisionist heads. I've heard jokes made, whereas if you were a Doctor Who fan in the 80s, the Star Trek fans would beat you up. That's like how nerdy Doctor Who was by comparison if you were into Doctor Who.
Well, I've been watching Doctor Who since I was a kid, and I'm older than all y'all.
I
So,
understand. I'm just saying that, if I think I remember being in elementary school and they said, or maybe when I met someone in middle school, says, "You still into Star Trek?" And I said, "No, now I watch Doctor Who," and that like threw them even worse when I said that, because that's like worse to be into Doctor Who. Doctor Who. Hi.
Hello, I'm back. Yeah.
Oh, I'm hearing an
did
echo.
you mute me?
Oh,
I did not. There we go.
all right.
All right.
So we just click on the presentation.
Yeah.
I generally like Capaldi, but I think Who lost the plot after, honestly. What happens after makes Capaldi's run look very confident? Well, that's the thing. I hate to say this. I felt like during the Tennant era and Eccleston era, there's a plan. Like, there seems to be a plan going forward for where the show's going. And then I get to the Matt Smith era, and I feel like, well, it's setting up stuff, but then there's no payoff. Am I wrong here?
No, you're absolutely
We'll get to it. Let's get to. Oh wait, first off, let's get to this. I have underneath the show that celebrates itself. That's not a compliment when I say this.
Yeah.
It became almost self-referential, which started to drive me nuts, especially with River Song saying spoilers a lot.
I liked the spoilers bit.
I did not. It's going to date the show terribly. Do kids even say spoilers anymore?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's still a big. There are still people that have real issues with spoilers. So, as a matter of fact,
Spoilers, sweetie.
Yes, you kept
exactly.
saying that.
I know.
Oh, that used to drive me nuts.
Yeah, I get that. Real quick before we get too into it, I did get a prompt, bit of a personal story from Nate. I want to read. So tonight, my friends, we are looking at two doctors, Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi. Well, Matt Smith is my oldest son's favorite doctor. That's right, my Geek Flag Jr. is not a David Tennant fan. He prefers the youthful and animated Matt Smith. I thought Matt Smith was a good doctor, and he had the best companions in Amy and Rory, and some pretty good adventures, but to me, he was a little too, how would you say, pervy for a doctor. Sexual attention when Amy was with Amy was out of place, considered he met her when she was a child. That's actually a good point. Him kissing random women and commenting on how tight and short Clara's skirts were. But when he wanted to be menacing, he could.
Did he make any jokes about their fish fingers and custard?
And convincingly. And now, poor Peter Capaldi, I feel that he was genetically born to play the Doctor. He was perfect at every way. Unfortunately, he was saddled with diminishing writing. The show just kept getting worse and worse. And I don't believe he left the TARDIS. He ran when he saw where the show was headed with new showrunner Chris Chibnall, so that we have it. The last two good. So here we have the last two good doctors, at least for a long time. I still hold out hope that the Doctor will go into its next long winter and someone will come along and save him and us someday. Well, that's my 2 cents. Your humble contributor, Geek Flag with Nate Knows, 1973. Thank you so much, Nate. Super, super appreciate that. Yeah, I have to agree with everything you said. That actually pretty much summed up what I wanted to say. Okay, it's your show. Goodbye, everyone. No, seriously. Go ahead, Boomer, and I'm going to sit here and
it's
drink.
my show. Let's move
It
along.
is now.
Here's the big quote. People assume that time is a strict progression of cause to effect, but actually, from a nonlinear, non-subjective viewpoint, it's more of a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
Yeah, I heard this before. I heard it on the previous.
Look. My point is that I feel like that's the explanation for everything. It's just wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff. Let's move on. People are gonna hate me after the stream, I'm sure. But let's move on. Let's move on to. Did we like the new logo?
Yeah, I didn't mind it so much. I actually, one thing I do like about the logo is, and this is a subtle thing. You only notice this if you're kind of into animation. That light on top of the DW that turns it into a TARDIS, that it looks like a light. It really looks like a shining light. And I think they did a good job. I did like River and the Doctor's relationship being non-linear, made it interesting. The Doctor and River had good chemistry together. Yeah, I did. Last week I compared it to
me and you. Hello, sweetie.
Well, there's that. But I was going to say the Time Traveler's Wife.
Yes.
Which is not the Doctor Who episode. It is a book turned into a movie.
Well,
you can watch the movie if you want. The book was way better. I also wanted to real quick say hi to Real Wade Nation Gaming clips. Here's a spoiler for you. I'll be hanging out with him over on his Rumble channel tomorrow afternoon at 2 Central, 3 Eastern, as we do a watch party of Tron and Tron Legacy.
There we go.
So hope you can join us. It'll make me look good when I'm a guest on someone else's channel. If I got peeps there to cheer us on.
Peeps are good, especially if they're marshmallow.
Oh, the blue peeps.
All right. There we go. I remember there was a big 3D trailer for this when this came on. Remember? And it showed Amy Pond played by what's her name? I always freeze on air. Karen Gillian.
Karen Gillian.
We got Matt Smith here, and it was an interesting trailer. You see all these beasties like Daleks and Weeping Angels, and it was a 3D trailer. This is the big preview for the show.
You guys were talking about, I think it was Robert's Infinite Realms who was talking about it. Actually, that's a great freeze frame. I'm glad we got that one up there. You were talking about his relationship with River Song being nonlinear, but in a lot of ways, the same is true of his relationship with Amy. Well, Amy and Rory, really.
Well, it's all one big happy family.
We'll get spoilers.
We'll get to that. Spoilers if you haven't watched the show.
So
don't get me started.
Real Wade Nation Gaming said to show something to you. So I am MeWeeing you. He told Grok. Wait, how you have to open up MeWe first? He told Grok to draw you like the Doctor.
Okay.
And I just posted it to your MeWe.
Oh, for some reason, it's not logging me in. Wait a minute.
Too bad I can't put pictures in the chat.
Yes, well. Anyway.
Actually, can I? No.
Let's see.
Oh, that's an unfortunate picture of Matt Smith.
Another awkward dinner with the mother-in-law right there. My favorite episode of Doctor is the Doctor Who Christmas Carol. Okay. All right. I remember that was kind of making fun of Star Trek in the beginning of that. Troy, you are lucky man. Netters is hotter than River. There you go. Okay.
Yeah, but that I'll give River a bit of a pass because, age and whatnot. She was pretty hot when she was young.
All right, so there we go.
Okay, yes, maybe Netter has aged better than River Song has, but
It's me jeans.
Okay.
Yes,
Now,
yes, you look great in your jeans.
I showed it to Railway Nation.
Yeah, I was having trouble signing into. What is this?
I don't know what you're looking at, so I can't help you. That picture that I put near MeWe.
Yeah, let's bring it up.
That's how Grok drew you as the Doctor.
Okay, guys, I got to share this with you. This is I'm gonna quick back to the this.
He
so I
said,
can share.
Draw at Pacelli Try as a doctor in Doctor Who, and that's
That is so funny. Let me entire screen this no sound share and add this. This is how Grok sees me as the Doctor. Basically, it makes me Capaldi, but it gives me kind of a fedora. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what to make of that. That looks like a very hot tweed suit, but I'm good with it.
I could see this as a Doctor, yes.
But look at this. What you basically have, it looks to me like a combination of Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi.
Actually, it
right?
kind of
This is the Matt Smith like suit and tie, and the Capaldi face.
Now I'm curious.
Who was that actor they had as a favorite to play the Doctor? The one who was in Tron Legacy as the weirdo that ran the bar. Remember that? They were toying with him as the Doctor.
I do not. I only
he was
saw
also in the
Legacy
Good
once.
Omens miniseries with David Tennant. He was the other actor. I forget his name off the top of my head. But
was he the one that played Bilbo?
No, that's Martin Freeman.
No. Okay.
Anyway.
I don't know.
All right.
Let's get rid of that.
Let's get back.
No. Why
John
why
Hurt.
am I in it? Why am I in it twice?
I don't know. It's like you're talking yourself, like on Doctor Who.
There
we go.
I do that from time to time.
Let's get back. Michael Sheen, thank you. They were floating the idea of casting him as the Doctor Who after Capaldi, but that didn't happen.
Here's something interesting. I just asked Grok to draw me as a Doctor in Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
Gave me two pictures. Both of them are male.
Well,
one looks like Capaldi, and
looks more like Troy is the Master. I like that.
And one looks like the face is more like a combination of Matt Smith and the 10th one.
Okay.
Tennant.
Yes.
Troy as the Master. I like that. I think that one deserves. Let's see, which one am I going to give you?
So.
Thank you. Thank you.
There it is.
All right. So
we did we kind of cover Agent Boomer hates me now.
It's fine.
No,
it's fine. I'm just saying we got a lot to cover, but it's all right.
So
it's cool.
So Matt Smith, the Matt Smith Doctor, gets a new set of custard. He gets a new set of 12 regenerations, and his first.
No, he doesn't.
No, I'm sorry. David Tennant gets a new set of.
No, he doesn't.
No, we haven't gotten there yet.
No, we haven't gotten there yet. Stop skipping ahead.
David Tennant gets a big chin, and here he is, and it's you get the impression that there's something a little bit amiss, kind of like the Peter Davison incarnation.
There you go. So he's acting weird.
So he needs something. In Peter Davison, he needed a stalk of celery, right? This incarnation needs apparently fish fingers and custard.
Yeah, I guess in England they call them fish fingers instead of fish sticks. So that makes sense, I guess. Okay.
It's still processed fish, fried in batter, but whatever.
Okay. Well, I specified this time to draw at Netter's Network as a Doctor in Doctor Who. I look like the Impossible Girl.
Interesting. Interesting. I'll have to take a look at that later.
All right. So here we have Amy Pond now all grew up. That's Rory, her, I believe, fiance. Is that right? Yes. Who is he a nurse, as I recall?
Yes, he is. And real quick, one thing you gloss over is that he meets her as a child,
Yes.
He leaves and kind of comes back, and
That's
he
her.
jumps. He basically jumps over her life, so to speak.
Yes. So yeah, now he's back. I forgot what she was
So he
doing.
shows up. He's in her house. He's looking for the little girl, not probably realizing how much time has passed by. She's dressed as a police officer, so he thinks he's getting arrested. She behaves like a police officer. She handcuffs him to a radiator, but she's not actually a police officer.
This isn't a stripogram, is it?
Yes, it is.
Well, it's a kissogram. It's a little different, but effectively the same thing.
Yeah, we don't have
It's a
those in the
similar
United
thing.
States.
Well, we have seen
shamograms where
telegrams.
you have to feel bad if you're attracted to the redheaded lady. Okay, anyway.
Right.
Amy Pond and Rory, best companions ever. That's fine. A lot of people like them.
I'll tell you what, as a pair of companions, I definitely agree. Like, who else did you have? You had, who were the two from the doctor, the two teachers from the Coal Hill School with the first Doctor?
I don't remember who they were.
I forget their names. They were good, but
You keep
these
acting
two,
like this. Like we've seen all the first Doctor episodes when most of them weren't even available.
and Clue Channel says, "Salute,
Thank
salute."
you.
I'm gonna give Clue and Geek Flag this.
Thank you.
Better about switching back and forth. I'm still getting used to that, but
Barbara
thank you
and
very
Ian, Geek Flag is telling us.
Barbara and Ian, yes.
Okay,
exactly.
there we go. So there we go. You and I click on things. Okay, salute.
Yep.
All right. So yeah. So he jumps over to the present. Amy Pond is engaged. Is she being skittish about getting married or something? As I recall,
She's got the typical cold feet.
Cold feet.
Because the Doctor has had this role in her childhood, she's got a bit of a fixation on him.
Like an imaginary friend that she knew as a child or something like that. Yes. Okay.
Right. When she realizes he's real, she's still kind of stuck on him, and she takes out her, her apprehension about getting married on him, tries to come out.
Was Rory a nurse? Yes, he was.
Yes, he was.
I mean, here's the deal. I feel this is a, working maybe middle class couple. They're going to get married. They're going to do what people do, and this is a normal life. But Amy Pond is, I guess, getting skittish. I think there's aliens or something in this episode. There's another alien invasion.
Yep.
The Doctor who yells at some aliens again. And I think he catches some kid on a laptop looking at something he's not supposed to be looking at.
Looks a lot like the creature that the Master used to extend his life. But
yes. And he always believed that he was real. Other people kept telling her that he was imaginary. Okay, so
right.
I see. So, yes. All right, that makes sense. So here we go. We have aliens. The Doctor stops him because he's the Doctor. And Amy decides to go on some time-traveling adventures with him. Why does he let her on board?
Because that's what the Doctor does.
Did you like the Daleks World War II storyline?
That was interesting. That really was interesting.
You have Winston Churchill
Winston Churchill here, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they were acting like, well, they're helping us win the war. They're the creation of, Dr. Frankenmuir or whatever his name was. And that turns out, no, the Doctor's
he's
the robot.
He's just a construct of the Daleks.
Nonsense.
Yeah, exactly.
The Daleks are up to their goodness stuff again. See, here we are. But don't they keep saying I'm here, like they were saluting Winston Churchill or something?
Right.
They were like,
right.
Because she's hot. Yes, I guess so.
When we were at Chicago TARDIS, there was a couple people who had Dalek reconstructions or whatever, and they had one that was this specific Dalek. It was really kind of cool. It's got that World War II era, canvas belt around its chest. pretty cool.
Yeah. But the Dalek episode was well done. It was fine. I kind of feel like they kind of gloss over the Daleks in these seasons.
Oh, here we go.
You don't like this one. I already knew you weren't going to like this one.
I said this last week. Bringing the Weeping Angels back is foolish. So this is more than the Weeping Angels. There is a running story throughout this season.
The Pandoricon. Or the
well,
Pandora,
yes, but
yes.
specifically, as far as they know, it's this crack in the wall, in Amy's wall.
Yes.
And she's able to hear voices through it, and it's a crack in time, basically.
Yes.
And that's what draws the TARDIS there in the first place. That's why he returns there, and he knows he's got to get this thing fixed. Well, I don't remember where the hell they are, some alien place or whatever.
Alien planet. They're in some future version, which I guess is what the Church of England evolves into, because it's some kind of church military.
Right.
And guys are called bishops. I'm assuming it's the Anglican Church, but in the far, far future. It's just, yeah.
And the crack in Amy's wall is here as well.
Yeah. Yes. And
the Weeping Angels are there. They have been starving. But now that there is time energy leaking out of this wall, they're starting to wake up.
Yes, and there's this big thing. We got the Sea River song again, which, and I have to, this is sort of where we get into a little bit of trouble, because when she sees him last time, she says, "Oh, Doctor, you're so young." Well, he's young here. Matt Smith is also a young actor. Now, he acts differently than Tennant does, maybe even acts older than Tennant does in personality, but he still has a young face. So, I don't know. But
and then there's this really interesting bit where they do see the Weeping Angels again, but there's an image on a TV screen that Amy is looking at. And apparently an image of an angel becomes the angel.
Yeah, it just got so dumb. Honestly, this was a well that Moffat never should have returned to, and he did.
He almost didn't hire Karen Gillian for Amy. That's interesting. I didn't know this. Okay. You didn't like this episode. Anyway,
I'll tell you, I wouldn't think of Karen Gilliam as dumpy. She's
maybe you saw a bad picture of her. Maybe she was in something. Yes, she's a pretty lady. This one I liked. I remember this was the Dream
Dr.
Lord
Zoloff
episode from
Captain Or is it Zemo?
America.
I forget.
No, Zoloff. No, that's the great Toby Jones playing what he says. "Oh, if you're the Time Lord, I'm the Dream Lord," right? And part of me thought, did this thing come out of the Doctor's consciousness or something? But he plays a game where it's like two different scenarios. One is real, one is fake, right?
Right.
Where they're stuck in the TARDIS. And I thought that was interesting. I thought this could have been a character they could have revisited.
Well,
but
actually,
it's the Moffat era, so why bother doing that? We create a villain, but let's not bring him back.
I don't know, Darth Plato, if this is if this is literal, if this has been established, or if this is just a fan theory.
It was a fan theory, but I think there's some merit to it, that they thought this could have been a progenitor of the Valeyard right here. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And I thought he was an interesting villain. I would have liked to have seen him again, but he was a one-off. Yeah. But the great Toby Jones played him in this. But yeah, Aaron Azora, he was good. This was good, but confusing. Yeah, I would have loved if they had done a Doctor Who episode where you have to decide which scenario is real if he came back, and I would have done this. This is my own fan. Indulge me here for a minute.
This could have been a standalone episode on a DVD, like the Attack of the Grask. That would have been cool.
Maybe. What I thought could have been fun about this, though, is if he had come back, there could have been another where he has to choose between two scenarios, what's real and what isn't. The fake scenario could have been him on a set of a 1960-era Doctor Who episode where he's an actor, and he says, "No, I'm the Doctor." "Oh, it's happening again, producer. Set our actor straight. He's not really the Doctor." And then the other thing would be like a real Doctor, and you have to decide which is real. I thought that might have been kind of funny if they had kind of broken a fourth wall, but it would have been like a kind of a nod to the 60s, early Hartnell era.
Right.
That didn't happen. Anyway, I know that's just my idea, but they don't let Americans write for Doctor Who. because Joe Hill said they told him no. He had sent a script during this era, said, I'd really like to write a Doctor Who episode, and he says, well, we don't normally let Americans write for the show, and we certainly wouldn't let you. And I'm like, it's Stephen King's son. You're going to talk to him like that? It's like,
wow. And that kind of tells you why this show has kind of been spiraling down since then.
I mean, yeah. Okay, so we have the return of the Silurians. I did not
Madam
like their
Avstra or something like that.
No, that's not her. I think that's somebody else, but it might be the
same actress, I believe.
Probably. I didn't like the new look. I like the more creepy Silurians thing. They kind of kept some of the creepy look by giving them these goggle masks they wore. When they take them off, they actually look humanoid. They look too
human. Yeah,
they look too human. They look. I mean, but it's fine. It's the new Silurians. You have to get over it. I know. I'm just this is right. The cracks start forming in my fandom and stuff. But this took place in the near future. I believe something really weird happens in this episode where Rory gets wiped from history because of the crack, and then Amy says, "I don't want to forget him. I don't want to forget him," and then she forgets him, right? Because he gets erased from time. That was kind of tragic, right?
Yeah, but that has a payoff later on.
Yes. Yes. So,
this was probably the best episode of the Matt Smith era, in my opinion.
Yeah, the episode.
This one, if you're not in tears at the end of this episode, you have no heart.
Yeah, old Silurians were just wearing helmets. I don't. You know what? I'm gonna keep quiet. I sometimes the new designs bug me on New Who. I thought the Centaurans were great. I thought the Daleks were fine. I did not. Anyway, that's fine. This is the Van Gogh episode. Remember they take him at the end and they show him an art gallery in the future where everyone is still appreciating his work and he's just stunned, right?
And because his death is a fixed point, he doesn't end up changing anything other than there are a few more paintings that he paints before he dies.
Yes. But he shows how much he was appreciated by the human race in the future, so that's good. Let's see here. We have is that Gordon Cole, who became the talk show host?
Yeah.
I know you're probably not his biggest fan, but I will say this episode begins with him being this kind of.
I do like his character, and I do like his son. His son was awesome. Yeah,
and he's
Stormageddon.
Do you remember though? He's in.
Pardon me.
And I'm just saying he was in this episode and he's in love with his roommate, right? And he's trying to work up the courage to tell her I love you, right?
Yeah.
And she leaves for the day and then he decides to, and then he hears a knock at the door and he thinks it's his roommate back and he opens up and says, I love you, and it's Matt Smith, Dr. Who.
Yeah, exactly.
Really? Well, thank you. I
don't even know you, yeah.
I burst out laughing at that. The Van Gogh
Thank you very much,
might be the best
Flag
episode.
with Nate Knows.
Oh, sorry.
1973. He says best whoever. That's a big one. Well, you know what? $5. That deserves something.
Thank you.
What the heck?
I'm screwing it up again. Sorry.
What?
We're back.
I have to tell you, you have to introduce me to that lounge singer sometime. I bet she's cute. Okay. Okay. Anyway,
AI, would that matter to you?
What?
If I told
AI?
You AI,
you know what? We're getting to the point, man. We're all going to be hooked up to the machines at some point. Anyway, all right, we got to the big finale. Sorry, we're speeding through these, but we got to get the whole thing tonight. This is a Roman army.
Yes.
All these aliens are like Draconians, Daleks, Cybermen. They're all like converging on this point. Who's the greatest villain? Who's the one that's going to destroy the universe? Could it maybe be the Doctor? And I kept thinking, well, why do the Daleks have a problem with that? Considering in the last time we saw them in the Tennant era, they were going to destroy the universe. But then I realized, oh, well, the Daleks, they want to be the ones to destroy the universe.
Right. And the other thing is that this is the payoff for the whole season-long arc, right? That crack that was appearing in Rory's in Amy's wall that called the Doctor, that was getting bigger everywhere that he went. Turns out that crack in time was caused by the destruction of the TARDIS, and that happens here.
River Song, I think, reveals that to him, and I was like, oh, the TARDIS is going to explode. That's exciting. This is something that's going to happen in the future on who the TARDIS will explode. What will the ramifications be? I guess we're seeing it here. What will
It
that mean?
literally destroys the universe.
It doesn't happen, though. The TARDIS does not
Kind of
explode.
does. It kind of does.
Okay, you missed something. You might have been paying more attention, I'll admit. So
what happens is that the Doctor realizes that going back to that whole thing about not forgetting Rory, right? What happens? Amy Pond's memory of Rory is able to bring him back. He is one of the
Romans
villains that is here. That
Rory
the
the Roman.
Dalek, the Cybermen, and all the Autons. And one of the Autons is Rory.
Oh.
And the Autons are in the form of these
Romans.
The Romans, the ones that disappeared at help me out, Darth Plato, the missing legion from history.
Yeah, that was a historic thing, yes. And
it was them. It was that legion. But they were all Autons, and they ended up here. And doesn't
it end with them sticking him in? They stick him in the Pandoricon, or they seal him up. They seal the Doctor up, as I recall.
They want to seal up the Doctor, because they figure if they this Pandorica is some sort of null space inside of it. There's no time, there's no nothing. So you're literally frozen in time, and you're removed from the universe effectively. And if they do this to the Doctor, it'll stop the whatever's going to happen. Yes, Pandorica opens and the Big Bang. The Big Bang, of course, being the Ninth Legion. Thank you very much, Darth Plato. And yeah, this, I gotta say, this actually was, again, Steven Moffat at his best, because this is a lot, the Fez and the mop and all this goofiness, but it all fits into some time travel-y stuff that he does. And it's very reminiscent of the kind of thing that he did with Rowan Atkinson in The Curse of Fatal Death. Well, I can go back in time and I can do this, 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 and this. And this happens to the Master. Yes, but I can go back in time and do this, 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 and this. And then, which of course is paralleled by Bill and Ted. Oh, I got to remember a garbage can. Boom, garbage can falls out. And so they got to go back in time to set up all these things so that they can, win the day. Doctor is basically taking advantage of time travel in that same way, in a way that he's always been able to, but they've never made use of that. It's unfortunate, but it works very, very well here.
There we go. But everything gets fixed. So
anyway, he ends up saving. The Doctor ends up getting stuck in the Pandorica.
Rory the Roman waits outside to protect Amy for like 5,000 years or something. I don't know.
This is with Amy because Amy is dying. He puts her in the Pandorica so she'll be safe. Rory the Auton, who isn't going to die because he's a mannequin, literally protects her for thousands of years.
Oh, the Roman soldier.
As the Roman
soldier. She realized, wow, he loves me that much. That's what she thought. Yes.
And what's really great is, I'm going to jump ahead real quick. There's this great bit where Rory and Amy are having a baby. And she's telling the baby the story of this her hero who he's thousands of years old and he's traveled through space and time, and he gave up 1,000 years of his life to protect me. And the things she's saying could be applied to the Doctor, but it turns out she was talking about the baby's father, who was Rory. It's really,
and that's nice.
Yeah.
She looks good in that dress too, I'll say. Yeah, and she's gonna get married.
He's gonna have time head.
Yeah, we'll get to that because she's
Oh wait, that's the Christmas special. Anything left to say about the finale? They get married.
Yeah. So this is
Wait,
no. Wait. Yeah, I got to
go to the
talk about the
Christmas.
wedding.
Okay, yeah.
So the thing is that when the TARDIS blows up, it destroys the universe. But because of the unique nature of the Pandorica and Amy's memory, her memory of the universe can restart the universe. So literally her remembering the Doctor and remembering Rory and remembering everything resets the whole universe. And there's this great moment at her wedding when she and Rory are there, and she hasn't remembered the Doctor. The Doctor does not exist. He has not been returned. And somebody, she doesn't know who at that moment, has left a book. Something borrowed, something blue, something old.
Something new.
It's a diary or a journal in the shape of a TARDIS. And it's sitting, on that table where the bride and the groom, are seated. And yeah, it looks exactly like this. It's
right.
It's a time journal, and I just dropped something.
It's between your feet.
There we go. And it's actually River Song's journal, and she left it for Amy to remind her of the Doctor. And when she sees the journal and she sees the TARDIS, she remembers the TARDIS, and she remembers the Doctor, and she remembers her the Raggedy Man. Who everyone said was not real, and he is real, and she is very cross because he promised to be here at her wedding, and suddenly the TARDIS,
appears.
And she stands up and says something about the Raggedy Man, and he appears.
I expect you to be, and he shows up, and he goes, "Am I late?" And he's in the,
Yes.
And it turns out that River Song had come and dropped off her journal and walked away. It was really cool. Again, this whole season, if there's nothing else in it of value, Steven Moffat does use time travel in a great way. I wish he'd have stayed away from the Weeping Angels. But other than that, yeah, really, really good season. So we can go on to Christmas Carol.
Yeah, this was the almost like a Doctor Who version of Christmas Carol, right?
This one is this one kind of thematically flows right from the last season, right?
Because they're having their honeymoon on this spaceship in the future, right? And then suddenly it's like an Enterprise style ship. I think Rory and Amy are on it, I believe. Memory serves.
I actually don't remember that aspect of it.
Okay.
But this planet that they're on it's basically Victorian Earth for all intents and purposes. But they have cryogenic technology, for example. And so the bloke on the left was in love with the gal on the right when he was a much younger man.
Okay.
And he's kind of like a Scrooge character, and her family owed money or something, and he would take family members as collateral and put them in a freezer, and they had to pay off their debts to get them out and whatnot.
Wow.
Well, it turns out that this girl that he had fallen in love with, I think he fell in love with her subsequently after she was put into cryofreeze. Turns out that she had a degenerative disease, and she would have died if she hadn't been frozen.
Cryofreeze, yeah.
And because he's kind of fallen for her, he wakes her up every year to spend Christmas with her. But the problem is, every day that she's alive, she's dying. And when he realizes that, he can't bring himself to resuscitate her again. And when he finally does, he's old.
And he's like Scrooge because he's angry about that.
Yeah. And the Doctor, of course, does the whole time travel thing so he could be in the past and pop up in the future.
So he's the ghost of Christmas past, present, and future.
Past, present, and future. Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. They went on the ship, and she was in her cop uniform. Rory was his Roman uniform. And Simeon asked why they were dressed that way. Nothing, Amy shyly replied. Yeah.
Oh. So, yeah. So,
that was a fancy dress cruise, wasn't it?
yes.
It was for them.
Yeah, that was the thing. So, yeah. I know that the ship, if it doesn't land on the planet, everyone in the world is going to die, but the Scrooge is being miserly about letting them use some tachyon track, I don't know, to get on the planet, as I recall, right?
There's the whole sci-fi story, and the doctor fixes things, and the girl's gonna die, and it's really sad. But
they have one last Christmas together.
They have one last Christmas together, yeah.
Okay, so,
This was back when they actually did good Christmas episodes.
So, moving on to...
So this was the first season that was a joint venture between the BBC and a U.S. production company, and this was filmed in the United States.
Yeah.
And he even wears a cowboy hat.
This is bizarre to me, to finally have the Doctor showing up in eras where he's already existed. So, like, the William Hartnell Doctor was alive and well and doing stuff in the 1960s, but now we have Matt Smith doing stuff in the night. Now, to be fair, or is it the early 70s? Because I remember he runs into Richard Nixon, I think, in one scene.
Yes,
but he's
he does.
in the United States. So, I don't know. It's just
I do want to mention, since we're talking about Arizona, it made me think of a song that I'm really enjoying. Go check out Vacation Radio. It's an alternate channel from WDW Pro. A lot of great vacation-themed music of all different genres, and there is a cool song, a pop song about Arizona. Yeah.
Oh, the Christmas special was the first Doctor Who my wife ever saw. Okay.
Oh, interesting. There you go.
So, there's this big thing where
sometimes those standalone special episodes are a great jumping on point for people, because you don't have to have watched anything before it or after it to get that one story.
So the Doctor is going to die. That's the big thing. An astronaut will appear, shoot him, and then shoot him again as he's going through regeneration. So I guess if you do that before he goes through the regeneration process,
if he's dead, he doesn't survive.
Which, to be fair, I don't think it goes against canon, because I always got the idea that regeneration was never a guarantee anyway.
Right. He knows that this is where he dies. This is how he dies, because he's the Doctor, and he knows.
Of course, who's in the astronaut suit? That's the big question.
And he is, he gets Rory and Amy together, and River Song. He invites everyone to be there, because he knows that if he's going to die, he wants his friends there. So he, goes through what he's got to go through, and then we're introduced to the Silence.
One giant step for Doctor Who, says Darth Plato.
For a $2 super chat.
Thank you so much.
So this is where my myths start really coming into play with Moffat era. I have nothing against new villains or monsters being introduced. I welcome new villains and monsters. The Silence, I think, are actually kind of interesting. I think they have a unique look. I'd like to see more of them. And the idea they're introducing here is that the Doctor's reputation is becoming so renowned throughout the universe that alien species that see him as a potential threat in the future are now trying to come after him before he even knows about them, which I thought was sort of interesting. But when they were filming these episodes,
you didn't get to see that. Yeah,
approached by highway agents. Oh, there you go. She got the role of Nebula in Guardians of the Galaxy. Yes.
Yep. She got a number of U.S. roles. Oops, did I just change? How did we do that? Hold on a second.
Matt Smith got some roles too. They just didn't know quite pan out, because he was cast in that awful Terminator sequel. He was basically Skynet, though.
Yeah, don't even
physical
get me
version
started.
of Skynet.
Yeah,
what?
Don't even get me started there. Yeah.
Okay.
He was also. This is the curse of Matt Smith, right? He was cast in that, and it was just terrible, and his role was actually very much reduced. Then he was cast to be in one of the Star Wars movies and completely cut from it.
Oh yeah, that's so bad. That's so bad. I forgot they did that. Matt Smith,
He
I'm
probably
sure
says, "I
will
don't
have
give a crap. I got the
he'll
baby
have a
back."
long career. He's a unique actor.
Oh
Frankly,
yeah,
worst case he gets in to be in BBC productions. I mean, come on,
yeah, and he's
fine.
got
He'll be
that
fine.
House of the Dragon thing and everything
Oh,
too.
that's right.
So.
That's what he's currently on. Yes.
Um,
So he
he
was
was
in
also
Star.
in Secret Diver at Call Girl. The doctor Matt Smith
Oh,
got it
I don't
on
know
with
nothing about that. Maybe you can stop.
Connie.
Just maybe we'll discuss that later. Anyway, though, he was in Star Wars but got out. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like no one ever gets out of Star Wars. Hayden Christensen seems to keep having to come back. Anyway, the silence though, cool look. They almost reminded me of the Weeping Angels though, because it wasn't one of these things where like if you look away or
So
something. Yeah.
here's the thing: if you're looking at a weeping angel, it becomes quantum locked. It turns to stone, right?
Yes.
As soon as you blink and you're not looking at it, it can move. The silence, if you don't look at them, they have no power over you. But as soon as you turn and look at them and see them, oh crap, oh shit, it's an alien, I'm gonna die. But as soon as you blink, as soon as you look away, you completely forget you ever saw them. It's the whole Men in Black concept.
Maybe this is where the Men in Black came from in American urban
That was what they
mythology.
kind of
They were
implied,
going
yes.
for, yes. He was the villain in the Lost River, one of them anyway. Oh, that's interesting. Deleted scenes. But yeah, I don't even remember how this episode ends. I remember Richard Nixon shows up. They still haven't solved the him dying because I guess that's going to be the season long thing.
Right.
That he's going to die in that spot or something. Anyway,
Oh, this was actually another really, really good one. This one,
the Doctor's
this one
wife,
was written by, do you know who wrote
Neil
this
Gaiman.
episode? Neil Gaiman. Yep.
I remember
Who's now canceled because Me Too, but
yes.
that doesn't change the fact that he's a brilliant writer
Yes.
who wrote
Anyway.
a brilliant Doctor Who episode.
So this is when they end up on some planet. I think the Doctor thinks that Time Lords may still be alive because he finds a bunch of busted TARDISes on this planet. But
yes,
and then
he receives a message that only a Time Lord could have sent. Like
he's trying to see if he
the
can rescue
little black
Time
box
Lords.
from a TARDIS, right?
Yes.
That brings him here, only to find out that this is a trap for Time Lords, and
yes.
a whole bunch of them since before the time of the Time War ended up here, and that's why there's TARDIS pieces all over the place and whatnot.
And then we have the TARDIS as a. It's funny. I remember one time when there was some. This is when people started ranting about Doctor Who on YouTube. I remember the early days when I was getting to YouTube. Why is the TARDIS an old lady? Like someone was making. She's not that old.
She's not old. She's actually quite attractive.
I know, but I don't know. Maybe they made her kind of frumpy with the Victorian dress. I don't know, but it was weird. Doesn't she try to bite him at some point or do something? I don't know.
She's weird, but
it's weird. But then she makes a point that you never
because what you have to understand is the couple on the left. Think of them as the Baron and Baroness de Thenard, or the innkeepers from Les Miserables or whatever.
Yes.
And this is Eponine, so to speak.
Okay.
And this is basically their daughter, right? And she is the physical body, but the mind and personality that's in her is the essence of the Doctor's TARDIS.
Yeah. And the TARDIS, and she says to the Doctor, he says, well, you never took me where I went to go, but I always took you where you were meant to be. Remember, she says that to him.
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing there probably.
Yeah, it was great because this is like, it personifies the TARDIS. You realize that the TARDIS is a conscious intelligence, which was always implied anyway. But now it's given a voice and it's able to talk to him. Okay. And it when she has to leave the body to go back into the TARDIS, it really hurts the Doctor. He's like, I like being able to talk to you. I don't want to lose you. She's like, you're never going to lose me.
Well, this is an Andromeda where the computer would actually talk to the captain in the visage of Leslie Doak. So there are worse things in this world. But anyway.
Although there was also demonstrated that the TARDIS had that kind of holographic technology. So there's no reason that it couldn't I just
Let's
don't
not go
understand why
there.
it did. So yeah,
It could have
yeah, yeah.
taken over the chameleon robot, and then never mind. Okay, moving on. Okay,
Right?
here we get into my big myth this season.
Yes, this really bothered me because
Oh,
I
so
hate the
much.
fact that they gender swapped Travis. That pissed me off so much. Those of you that have
Funny
been watching Blake
from
7 with me know
Blake
what I'm
7.
talking about.
This is Madame Covarian, and
Yep.
she is a sworn enemy of the Doctor's. There's just one problem. I don't know who she is. And I
And
thought,
neither
oh,
does the
I get
Doctor,
it.
as I
In
understand.
a future episode this season, we're going to see their first encounter and how he foils some dastardly plan she has. So she's
Yeah.
sworn vengeance against the doesn't happen. No, we don't know why she hates the Doctor. None of this is making any sense. And don't tell me they explain in some offshoot
Wait a minute.
thing. What?
I do
Yes.
want to address what Robert said. I really like the time this episode the way they dealt with the time travel in this episode. Even though very disappointed in Neil Gaiman. Reserve your judgment on Neil Gaiman. I'm really getting tired of everyone immediately assuming guilt whenever somebody comes out with some sort of claim. Let these things run their due course. Let's see the proof before we start assuming that people are guilty. Let's live up to the ideal that we set for ourselves, that people are innocent until proven guilty.
So again, I want to say though, I have no problem with new villains and new monsters. I say bring them on. We don't always have to have the Master and the Daleks and the Cybermen all the time. We can have new villains, new monsters, but you have to do setup and explain to me who these things are. Let's come to the headless monks. This is BS right here. Who are the headless monks? I have my theory about why these were made. I'll explain to you in a second. Go ahead.
But I will say this. There is something to be said for the nonlinear storytelling. That seems to be what you're most annoyed with. The idea that you have a villain that you don't know the history of because they don't have a history. Their history is in the future.
Yeah, but we never get to that future. That's my problem. If they had done a payoff later on where, oh, this is how they first meet, I would have been fine with that.
It is sloppy. You're absolutely right.
That was my problem. My problem also with the headless monks here, where part of me thinks that this is Steven Moffat creating a bunch of new monsters, and I figure, well, they'll be used in the future, and someone else has to go to the trouble of coming up with their origin or why they're
no one bothered.
Yeah, and no one bothered. That's what I'm thinking is happening here. Because again, I might have been interested.
Because what he didn't realize was as soon as he was done, the next showrunner was going to say, F everything that came before. I'm going to retcon all this bullshit.
Yeah, this is when the Matt Smith era lost the plot. Dr. Era, I did grow up with Matt Smith, regenerated Peter Capaldi. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll get to Peter Capaldi. We're going through it all. That's why we got to keep skipping ahead. Here we have... I don't remember this is from this episode. I remember that Amy Pond is pregnant. Yeah. She is pregnant with a baby that was conceived, I guess, in the TARDIS.
And what did they name the baby?
I don't remember.
Melody.
Yes.
Melody Pond.
Melody Pond. And this show did better with Elizabeth Folk you revealed later. Yes, well.
Which I guess you could argue that this is a little bit woke because they gave the baby the mother's last name rather than the father's name, whatever.
What? What are you talking about? Oh,
Amy
is it
Pond is Pond is her maiden name. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, never mind. All right. Anyway,
so giving the baby the name Melody Pond is taking the mother's name rather than the father's. Little modern progressive.
That stuff's littered throughout New Who. And to be fair, I'll say this: it's in there, but it was little minor jabs that I just.
Well, the other thing too is something like that. It's like, well, if Rory's fine with it and she's fine with it, hey. It's their family. Let them do what they want.
They always, let's be honest with you. I always felt
her last names, so he was Rory Pond.
Yeah.
In this marriage, Amy was the lead. Let's be honest here. I like Rory, and Rory's a good guy.
In some ways, that's true.
But she's running things in the marriage, and to be fair, I guess she could with that look. But anyway,
well,
What the heck is this episode? Oh, I remember this episode. This is Let's Kill Mustache Man.
Thank you for not saying anything that's
We
going
know
to
who
get this
Mustache
stream
Man. He led
demonetized.
the
Yeah.
Germans during a world war. That's all I'm going to say about this. Yes, we know who it is. This episode, people were angry at this episode.
What's
Like,
great
what
is
is
this looks
going
like
on?
it looks like the bridge of the Enterprise or something like that. Oh no. Oh no.
It looks like the Bridge of Discovery, probably.
Whatever, but it looks like the bridge of a starship. No. What you find out is a la the films that Big Al is going to be showing this week on films, or this month on Films with Friends. These folks are all little bitty tiny miniaturized, and they're inside the head of an android, kind of like the little prince from Men in Black.
Yeah, the idea is that they go through time to give these bad leaders the punishment they deserve without altering time. So I guess they give Mustache Man a jolt a bit so he gets to feel the pain he's caused others, but then he doesn't remember getting the jolt. None of this makes any sense. And of course,
they take them out of time and torture them. And it doesn't affect time because they still die and disappear and whatever.
What's the point?
I don't know.
I mean, yes, we all hate Mustache Man, but if it's not going to change time, I mean, it's not like in those wonderful.
I gotta say though, I think of all the TV shows, films, whatever, all the entertainment that dealt with that concept, I think Deadpool did it the best. Where he goes back in time to kill him as a baby.
Well, they cut that scene out, but yeah.
I can't kill a baby. Hey, you know what? I'm going to introduce you to my friend Cable.
Oh, that's funny. You know what I want to say though? No, there was a computer game series called Command and Conquer, and there was a spinoff called Command and Conquer Red Alert. And the plot line of that, I at least have one of them, maybe the first one, is Albert Einstein creates a time machine. He goes back in time. Guess what? The first thing he does, he basically kills Mustache Man. As a result of him doing that, history changes, and then the U.S. and the Soviet Union end up embroiled in this huge war that didn't happen because World War II didn't happen.
There's a lot of people that believe if they'd taken out Hitler.
You said his name. I've been trying.
I'm screwed. This dream
we don't like him, you two. We disavow him. He was a bad man, an enemy of the United States.
Doesn't matter. You're talking to a woman that heard the word. The word was said. I have just lost my monetization on this stream.
Because it's historical fact that this person
exists. Automatic.
Don't endorse him.
AIs.
Anyway, Einstein kills Charlie Chaplin. That's it. And Buster Keaton becomes more famous.
Anyway, the alternate history hub's done a lot on this too. If you take him out, someone who wasn't addicted to narcotic drugs, who didn't have Parkinson's disease, and maybe had a better strategy, and sense, might have been in charge, and maybe they'd have won the war,
Yeah, maybe his name would have been Vandal Savage. Oh wait, you have to watch Justice League to find that out. Anyway,
or I've just read the DC comics.
Okay, that's probably where they got it from. Hold on. Okay, let me go
the
back.
Cybermen again.
I forgot to mention though. I don't have the picture of this episode, but there's this young lady who we believe is the daughter of Is it revealed that she's the daughter of?
So what she is she's a friend of Rory and Amy's. I think she went to school. From
school, yes, she was a classmate.
If this matters, I don't think it does, but she happens to be a dark-skinned woman. Probably of African descent.
But it was already introduced. Some little girl regenerated again into probably her. Do you understand?
Right. You find out along the way that she is she has regenerative abilities just like the Doctor. What was this?
Don't read out loud. We agree with you.
Damn, thank you, man. I look, I'll tell you what, when you guys give a super chat or, whatever kind of contribution, let's face it, it actually totally makes up for what I lose on ad revenue, because honestly, full ad revenue, I'm going to get like 2-3 cents a stream. So thank you. The fact that I just got demonetized, you more than made up for by like 200%. I super appreciate that.
Anyway, so she sees the one that decides let's go back in time to take out Mustache Man. What was interesting is she fires a gun in the TARDIS, and doesn't someone mention something in the TARDIS like maybe that's the Eye of Harmony or something, like they mentioned something like, well, wait a minute, I thought you couldn't fire weapons in the TARDIS. I just said you couldn't do that. You don't remember that? Because I thought that was that's a bone of contention with Doctor Events. Can weapons be fired in the TARDIS? Because that's where the lore divulges on itself, because sometimes they happen and sometimes you can't do it, right? So yeah.
Right.
Anyway, then she ends up regenerating in this episode, and who does she turn into?
River Song.
Remember she said
on dress size.
Yes.
Yeah, there is a great line where she's in the middle of her regeneration and they're asking her what's going on. Shush. I'm trying to focus on a dress size. Yeah. Which implies that she is taking some sort of conscious control of her regeneration.
Did this episode have a yeah, I know Cyberman died in the TARDIS years ago. The Doctor shot one of them in the TARDIS. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but let's go here. Speaking of Cybermen, let's go to I guess he runs in the Gordon Cole character. There's Cybermen.
So wait a minute. I was just pointing out that we kind of glossed over the fact that River Song,
yes,
you find out was this friend of theirs.
Yes, in elementary school.
And then she regenerates into River Song. So now we're getting a big chunk of her backstory, right?
Yes. So there we go. And now we know, and I guess this will be River Song's final regeneration. Well,
also, a very important point that wasn't covered here. She tries to kill the Doctor because she has to. She doesn't explain why, but she has been conditioned that she must try to kill the Doctor.
Conditioned by... Well, we'll get to that in a minute. With the Cybermen show up again, this is a silly episode. I remember that they finally don't have the Cybus symbol, I think, on them anymore. I think they got rid of that finally.
Right.
And Gordon Cole gets turned to a Cyberman, but then he gets cured out of love, and then he stops.
Oh my gosh, this is the great story. So remember, he couldn't talk to his roommate, tell her he loves her. Well, they end up having a baby together, and the baby. Remember, the Doctor can speak baby, and the baby says that I can't remember what he named the baby, but yeah, he says his name isn't that. His name is Stormageddon. And
I like that. That's funny.
He wants you to respect his name choice. So
that's something a kid would say, right?
What was it? No, I don't think that's the full name. It's like Stormageddon, I don't remember, the Destroyer of Worlds or something. I don't remember what it was. Something like that. But that was Arc of Infinity. It was never explained why the guns can't be used in the TARDIS. Angle went away. Yeah. Okay. Basically, they explained it away in that episode, saying, I just said that to dissuade people from doing it. It wasn't the case.
Okay, so then we have the big finale. Everyone has these.
They all have Travis eye patches.
I don't think these are actually eye patches. I think they give them some link into something, right? So that's why, because I first.
Yeah, this had something to do with the silence, and the.
Like the silence are working with Madame Bavarian, and we find out who River Song is really the daughter of. Right, I think it's finally.
Yeah, so it turns out that
Melody
River Song points out that in whatever language there is no word for pod. Melody Pond is River Song.
There we go. And
So
As
she
they
is
said, where she was at, they didn't have the
Right.
same words for Melody
and Pond
and Pond.
became River Song.
It became
I
River.
actually thought that was kind of brilliant. It kind of makes you think of the Master and how he always had his name manipulated and whatnot. So you find out that River Song is actually Rory and Amy's daughter.
There we go. And which is weird because now they didn't really get to raise her. So anyway, because I thought this big thing was they're going to try to get their daughter back. This episode was a tribute to Snake.
A tribute to Snake Plissken. I love that. I never thought of that. That's cool. Yeah. If I remember correctly, it's so you can't forget the song. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I didn't remember the exact element of it, but yeah.
Okay, deleted scene says.
And here's the Stetson hat he was wearing in the first episode of the season.
You have to be in a certain headspace to watch British TV in general, but you shouldn't have to be. You know, it's funny because I used to argue that when I was growing up, Doctor Who seemed like a slow series. Then we get to New Who, and
you have to understand there is a cultural difference between the U.S. and UK.
Yes, but then I felt like New Who was sped up with the pacing to the point where I was finding it hard to keep track of things. And then I realized this is actually faster paced than American television at the time.
Yes.
So this was River singing Melody Pong. Okay, yes. Anyway,
and you know what? That's one thing that I respect about a show like this. Again, it expects you to keep up, pay attention, and think. You know.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
And a headless, a disembodied head of the Blue Man Group starts yelling at the Doctor at the end of the episode. Says, but the big secret will be revealed. And everyone will find out who, Doctor Who. What? What's the big secret that's going to? Well, why bother cashing in checks ever? Because I don't know. just move on.
So
move
the
on.
idea is
Let's
that the big question that is so crucial is Doctor Who. It's a question. And if it's answered, what happens?
The world ends. The universe explodes.
It's a prophecy that it's the end of the Doctor.
Okay, let's move on. Did it turn out that River Song was the astronaut? I don't remember now. Anyway,
yes, it did. She was programmed by the one-eyed chick she was actually stolen from Rory and Amy as a child. So Melody Pond went missing. And the whole season they were trying to find her again, only to find out that River Song was their child all grown up. So they missed her whole growing up.
Allow us to explain this to you, Final Fantasy fan 12. Melody Pond is River Song's Amy, and Rory gave birth to a Time Lord.
So here's what it was.
She was
Melody Pond
was in the TARDIS.
She was conceived in the TARDIS.
That's what gave her the ability.
Time head.
So she had time head. Yeah, exactly. So that was what Amy said. She was worried because she and Rory bumped boots in the TARDIS. The Doctor had no idea.
And I guess this gave her the ability to regenerate as a human.
They conceived her child in the TARDIS. Because she was conceived in the TARDIS, she absorbed all of this time energy and she received regenerations like a Time Lord. She wasn't actually a Time Lord, but she could regenerate like a Time Lord.
Yeah, okay. But then we find out that no, that's not where regeneration comes from. It comes from this other stuff. Well, that's
I know.
Never mind, because they don't bother to stick with any lore. Moving on, we have the Christmas special,
the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
The Something in the Wardrobe. I don't know. Yeah. It was their take on that. It's a silly Christmas episode. I remembered the Doctor. There's some alien ship that's going to destroy the Earth, and the Doctor's on the outside. This is
another great. The Christmas episodes were some of the best.
If you say so.
They're oftentimes tearjerkers. This one,
okay.
Dude, this one, if this one didn't touch your heart, you have no heart.
I probably don't have. I remember he's doing all the stuff in the house for the kids. Says, wait a minute, lemonade comes out of the faucets. He says, I know, like he's making everything super cool for the kids. You get lemonade out of the faucets
and the mother thinks this is such a nice thing that he's the caretaker of the place that they're staying. This is during the war, and they've gone to this place to try and protect the children. The father is away in combat. He's a pilot, I believe.
It's in
And
World War II, isn't it?
Yeah, and
Yes.
she's trying to give them a good Christmas. Now, what you find out later in the episode is that their father was killed in combat. She knows it. She doesn't want the children to know until after Christmas. She's
It would
trying to
ruin
give
the
them a
holiday.
happy Christmas.
Does something nice happen where maybe the husband is able to be saved?
It turns out the doctor pulls his timey-wiminess and finds a way to enable the wife to be the source that beckons her husband through a time portal, which ends up saving him.
There we go. Happy Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay, I liked it anyway. Moving on to weird season where the Pawns are just kind of they don't have a daughter anymore, but they're kind of living their life. I guess they're not going to have kids again. This is Asylum of the Daleks. I did rather like this Dalek episode.
Yep.
Because he ends up in some weird prison, right? Where the Daleks throw the Daleks that didn't quite make it.
Right.
But
call
they
it an
says,
asylum.
why didn't you just exterminate them? Because they said, well, something of such pure hatred we couldn't feel. We felt we can't exterminate. And he said, and the doctor said, as if I couldn't hate you even more, like with the Daleks, because they were keeping these things alive, only because they were in some ways worse than the regular Daleks. So.
Too bad he couldn't do that for Adric. It was a fixed point. Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started on that crap.
Sounds like a story from the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, it kind of was. It was kind of weird, kind of spooky, but really sweet. And honestly, I'm in tears by the end of that episode.
Do you remember, though, there's a wonderful scene where he's in the Dalek prison or asylum, and like he's picking up these things, and then the Dalek keeps saying eggs, and he says, and he picks up one of the shells on the floor. You mean eggs like this? And then finally it says exterminate.
Yeah.
And then I think the Impossible Girl wipes the memory of the Doctor from all the Daleks, so now the Daleks don't know who the Doctor is anymore, right? Does that happen in this episode? Which
this
I don't
is
think
where it all starts to fall apart, people. I'm just saying.
Here they are, though. I like this picture of them.
Oh.
They're actually having a nice picnic. Is this the Angels in Manhattan, I believe?
Yes, the Angels Take Manhattan or whatever the hell it was.
Someone said they turned the Statue of Liberty into a giant.
Yes, look, when the Ghostbusters did it, it was funny and cool, and your love is lifting me high. In this one, it's like, are you serious? So the whole conceit is that an angel is stone statue when you're looking at it. If the Statue of Liberty was a weeping angel, there is no way it would be able to get off Ellis Island without being seen.
Yeah, it
certainly couldn't cross the street once it came ashore without being seen. New York's a big damn city. It doesn't go to sleep like London does.
What I thought was interesting during the season, though, you see Amy and Rory getting older. Like I think they were in middle age by the time we get to this episode, right?
Yeah.
They're growing old together as husband and wife.
Which is kind of nice, yeah.
And they're the Angels again. Does River Song show up again in this episode, or am I thinking of something else?
That's her.
And and then I think that there's this sort of tragic end where the Doctor he sees something.
Yeah.
And look, the pointing, right?
Yeah.
Is that a point? And I'm not sure if it's pointing to this, but I think it was, in loving memory of Roy Arthur Williams and his loving wife Amelia Williams.
So what this tells you is, as soon as they see it, it becomes a fixed point in history, right? It would be a paradox if it didn't happen. So those two are going back in time. They know it's coming, and there's nothing they can do about it.
He can't ever see them again. He can never see.
Yeah, they come up with some goofy, stupid-ass reason.
Okay.
Because of all this time stuff that's happened in New York, it's unstable and the TARDIS can't go there again or some crap.
You didn't find this sad?
I did find it sad. I just felt the contrivance for it was stupid.
Okay, so this was a weird season where they actually split it in two. I call this the split season because it starts out earlier in the fall with like 6 episodes, and then we don't get the remaining ones until after the Christmas special. So it's
Right.
like we got half a season with the I guess Rory and Amy again. So
Right.
all right. And then Matt Smith feels so torn out about it that he goes and visits. This is a joke.
He
I
goes
put that
and
in there.
visits Rose. Exactly. Oh, good man. I'm glad you worked that in there. Brilliant. I was like, wait
I'm
a minute, is that
kidding.
Rose?
No,
Yes.
I will say though that there was this wonderful promo for like the Christmas before the Christmas specials. When we last left the doctor, he was so distraught over losing the pawns, and he'll never recover. He'll never have companions as good as them again. And then poor Jenna Coleman is like standing next to him, and she's like, "Hi." You know?
Hi. Yeah,
It's like-
exactly.
it's like- but of course, we're introduced to the something gang.
The Casa Nostra, no, something Nostra,
I don't
something
remember. I
Nostra.
don't. Okay, I'm being
I
mean.
don't remember.
I'm really trying at this point to still love this show, and I'll admit it. This is kind of
So
ridiculous. You have a
this is
Silurian.
where they decide that this Silurian chick and her, female human lover.
No, they didn't establish that the first time they introduced him. She was like her assistant, like a Holmes and Watson sort of thing.
Right.
I
Oh,
thought it
yeah,
was
that's
supposed
the
to
other
be.
thing. And this
And-
female alien is the basis for Sherlock Holmes.
Later on,
Right.
it's revealed they're in a relationship together, and I'm like,
Although I gotta admit, the reasoning behind it, when I kind of see what it was she saw in her, I was kind of like, okay, yeah, I kind of understand.
yes, but here's the deal, man. You're trying to make the audience make too many leaps. It'd be one thing if it was a lesbian relationship or an interspecies relationship. But now it's a lesbian interspecies.
Lesbian interspecies relationship with a female
Silurian and a female human.
with a female basis for Sherlock Holmes. It's
This
like,
was a failed backdoor pilot. Part of me thinks you're right, and part of me thinks you're wrong there, Geek Flag. I don't know. Okay, sorry, Jenny
Wait a minute, I
Vader.
was trying to bring up the other one. Sorry, yeah.
Go,
no,
we'll
you're
bring them
right.
both up. I don't care.
Yeah, no, it was.
We gotta get through this. We got Capaldi to still get through. Let's just move along.
By the way, the bloke that played Strax,
Yes.
met him at Chicago Tires. Hell of a nice guy.
He's a good actor. I mean, they're all good. I'm not picking any of the actors, and
Yeah.
even though I find it ridiculous that a Centauran is now being like a part of this private investigation agency.
Yeah.
They did this neat little short where like they're trying to explain to the doctor, oh, there's a Professor Erasmus Pitt who's trying to break through the Earth's crust, and maybe it's just that he was trying to make a coffee maker. Like they're trying to bring these things up that would interest the doctor, and like it's not working. But that's okay because we are introduced to the Impossible Girl.
Let's face it, she's a little cutie. I mean,
no, she's good.
She started out a pretty cool character, yeah.
Who ends up
getting her character was introduced in the Asylum
of the Daleks. She was inside a Dalek.
Dalek, yeah, she was inside of a Dalek, and then when he sees her here, he's like, "Wait, how can you be here? Also, that's impossible." And her name,
it was different in this episode. Hold on,
it was different, yeah. It was Osgood, Oswald.
Yes, Osgood, I think it was, and then it's or something. Yes, Clara Oswald, but it's Osgood in this episode. And
right.
He feels really bad when she dies, but then he gets some hint that no, she exists again. And which doesn't make any sense. How can she?
Which is absolutely impossible. How does she still exist in another time period with another life with another everything?
Fans were getting angry about this at the time. They did not like this treatment of the female companion. For some reason, they were. I don't know if it's because they were thinking that Moffat was trying to make someone more impressive than Amy Pond, or if they just, I don't know.
And the payoff to it is that's absolutely true. That's exactly what ended up happening.
Okay, well, here we go. Here's someone who was watching at the time. Make your character.
So at first, all of this was like, it's just a mystery. It doesn't make her anything particularly special. We just have plot points that, will be tied up probably by the end of the season. Michael Keaton, as I recall.
If you like snowmen,
Do you remember that movie Jack Frost with Michael Keaton?
yes.
Okay,
These are evil snowmen though, because it's
Yes, they
Doctor
are.
Who. We had evil
Yes.
Scarecrow, now we have evil snowmen. And I think the villain of that episode was it the Great Intelligence? Was that the end of
Yes.
villain?
Yes, it
Who
was.
is a renowned villain from the William Hartnell episode, probably
Yes,
from
it was.
episodes that got destroyed when they were recycling for the silver. But of course, Steven Moffat knows of it. Okay, here we go.
Yep.
Modern times, and this is where he meets Clara
Claire Oswald.
Clara Oswald.
Now
Yes,
it's Oswald.
Clara Oswald. Now we're proper impossible girl. Who were her parents killed when she was young? Is that a big thing? Like I think
That I don't remember. Storyman Jack, welcome. Good to see you. And Peter Venkman fan site. I am so glad that you stopped in. You might want to rewind a little bit. I was just talking about Ghostbusters 2 and the whole use of the Statue of Liberty.
yes.
Drawing the parallel to the Weeping Angels. But
what did I do? Did I do something?
No,
Okay,
why?
I'm back. Okay, that was on my end. Never mind.
Okay.
All right. I do remember liking this episode where they're on a submarine. I did think this was
A Russian submarine.
Well, no, they didn't know that though, because at first she's like, "Oh, we're in a submarine," and she's like, "Oh, I hope it's not one of those Soviet submarines." And she says this, Clara, these are Russians.
Yeah.
Because of the universal translator of the TARDIS, they're speaking normal English, right? So that's what she's saying. These are actually Soviet Russians in this submarine because it's in the 80s.
Yes.
We get reintroduced to the Ice Warriors.
Yep.
So they finally bring them back. Who, they
actually look like the Ice Warriors. They didn't change them so drastically.
Well, you get to see what they look like underneath a little bit, or there's more playing around with how they look. That's like their armor that they wear over that. So.
That actually makes sense. Really, it does look like armor.
Yeah, and I've always assumed it was too. By the way, they were on the old show that this was something,
right?
Because the leaders looked different. They weren't wearing that armor. The leaders of the Ice Warriors, they're like the commanding officers. We have this. We have the Neil Gaiman Cybermen episode, which
this was actually really good too. It's the Doctor playing a game of chess against himself.
Yeah, remember that?
Yeah.
This was Neil Gaiman wrote this episode. Did you know he originally wanted it to be a two-parter, and the BBC said no, make it one part? And I'm like,
that's too bad.
This is Neil Gaiman. You're telling me he can't write a two-parter for Doctor Who?
Right.
I don't understand how the mind. I know you may be one of
this
our
is
writers,
where the Doctor's falling apart. You know, the BBC really this was true in the post Davison era too. The BBC was its own worst enemy and was actively trying to destroy Doctor Who.
Okay. Yes. So, but this was neat. The other Matt Smith was the cyber controller. Remember?
Yes.
The cyber control, and I think it was revealed too there were children in this episode too, where they were trying to get. I think the cyber control is trying to get its hands on children because they make the best cyber controllers, which I think actually goes back to Doctor Who lore. Actually, no, that Doctor is playing against Stein. Yes, well, kind of.
Yeah, well, yeah, right.
Great Intelligence shows up at the finale with these weird faceless screaming guys in the top hats. Turns out it's the Great Intelligence again.
Kind of reminded me of the silence from Buffy.
Yes. And I know that Claire Oswald has to save all the doctors. She goes through all the different time periods or something. Doesn't she save each of his generations, I think?
Yeah, what ends up happening is they end up, I don't remember where the hell, some strand of time, something having to do with the TARDIS or whatever.
Trenzalore, that's brought up here.
Trenzalore. She
that is.
She sacrifices herself by jumping into this thing.
Yes.
She has herself divided throughout all of time, and portions of herself go back in time and save every incarnation of the Doctor.
Like she gets split up. Yes.
And that's why she was found in all these different time periods and different places by the Doctor. That's what makes her the Impossible Girl. It should have ended there. She should have died, and we shouldn't have seen her again. One of the doctors that she encounters is one we've never seen before, played by
John Hurt.
John Hurt. Right.
Now, I want to say something, and this bothers me. This is Steven Moffat. In my opinion, when he does this, the numbering gets all screwed up now. Because now, David Tennant isn't 9 anymore. He's actually 10. If we're taking all this
Yeah,
seriously.
they kind of played
But
fast.
not even Eccleston is 10. Yes, it just.
They played fast and loose in this, where they said that this incarnation was never a doctor. He was a warrior, so he doesn't count.
So he's
as,
an offshoot.
as a doctor. Therefore, they skip his number, and that's why Eccleston
call
is
him a
9,
war doctor,
and so forth. They call him. Yeah, I know.
That's okay. But what is this build toward the big 50th anniversary special? We get to see Paul McGann again in a brief sequence.
Yes.
Why the heck didn't they use him for a full special?
I know.
I like the fact we get to see that he was obviously involved in the Time War, remember? And he ends up on this weird planet where they let him decide what he'll regenerate into, and he decides, I have to be a warrior because we're not winning this war, right? So that's what he decides, right? He chooses to regenerate, as I recall.
I actually don't remember that Final Fantasy fan. I'm sorry. That was one of the things that Boomer and I were talking about before the show started. It's like there are big gaps in our memory for a lot.
I'm not doing every single episode because we were going to wrap it up tonight, and I do have to work in the morning. And now we have to get to the big 50th anniversary special. Look at this.
Yes, the 8th Doctor really got screwed, in my opinion. You're absolutely right.
But did he not want to come back, or was he not offered? I don't know what happened.
He wasn't offered.
Well, they should have had him come back. And look at that, we had Paul McGann in the background.
I always felt like everything that the War Doctor did should have been the 8th Doctor.
Yeah. I mean, Paul McGann.
I always imagined that Paul McGann was the one that regenerated into Eccleston just before the episode.
They had him come back for that brief special. He probably would have been perfectly willing to come back to be the War Doctor.
Speaking of Rose, there she is on the right. That's where Matt Smith and
I thought Eccleston had told them outright, I only want to do one season, that's it. So he did one season and then stopped.
That wasn't how he went into it. He had a difficult relationship with RTD.
Anyway, but that's not actually Rose Tyler. That's something else, pretending to be Rose Tyler as something to... I don't know. Anyway, we get to see the Time War going on, and of course we realize the Doctor has a lot of repressed guilt over the Time War and destroying Gallifrey, because what keeps him up at night, said...
he was responsible for destroying both the Time Lords and the Daleks.
But also, what keeps him up at night is the fact that he also killed a bunch of Gallifreyan children, and that always kept him up at night. He
literally wiped out all Gallifreyans,
and that was the thing that made him that the worst. But maybe with the help of all the doctors, maybe they
it turns out
that Gallifrey.
That there is this this piece of Gallifreyan art called from his understanding, this piece of art has two names. One is No More, and one is Gallifrey Falls. And it's a picture of the Time War. It's the main capital of Gallifrey being attacked by the Daleks. But what it is, because it's Time Lord art, is it's a moment in time frozen in this kind of three-dimensional image, and the Doctors are actually able to step into it and return to that moment in time in the Time War. And what they
Gallifrey Falls no more.
Well, you're kind of jumping ahead, and spoilers here. They're able to bring back Gallifrey. They're able to restore it.
But they have to. But it ends up having to be hidden, so the Doctor will still think it was destroyed, right, in the past.
Exactly.
It's a very convoluted way to bring Gallifrey back.
Remember that when you have multiple Doctors, right, it's always been established that only the current Doctor is able, the most advanced of the Doctor's numbers, is allowed to remember. Everyone before him, for paradox reasons, has to forget. So the War Doctor and the Tennant Doctor all forget. And
did you notice though when they showed all the Doctors converging and stopping the Gallifrey from getting destroyed, that one of them in one of the TARDISes was Capaldi. It's a brief cameo.
Right,
He's gonna
exactly.
be, yes.
That was very clever. But
look, there the three of them are.
There they are. So of course Tennant and Hurt have to forget everything that happened, so their history continues appropriately. But Matt Smith remembers that they saved Gallifrey, but Gallifrey is now missing. But that piece of art is still in a museum.
Which I didn't bother having a picture of, but we know who the curator is.
which is unfortunate, because the curator of the museum comes and it is Tom Baker.
Finally, in a
great surprise. And what's great is someone says to him, the curator is looking for a curator. I like that name, the curator. I could be a curator. Maybe one day I'll be a curator. And
funny. Little
what does Tom Baker says to him? You could be a curator. Who knows? Who knows?
Yes, we finally got to see Tom Baker in
and he says, so what do you think of this portrait? And he's like, it's nice, it's sad. And he goes, do you know what the name of this portrait is? He goes, well, which name? It's got two. It's got No More and Gallifrey Falls. He goes, oh, see, that's where you're wrong. It's one name. Gallifrey Falls, No More. Wait a minute, are you saying that Gallifrey's still out there and I need to find it? That's for you to decide.
Yeah.
That's a thread that's left open, and I guarantee you it never gets returned to again, and that's very, very sad. Then he goes to Trenzalore and he dies. The end.
Yeah, so this is a town called Christmas, right? And all sorts of things are attacking the Doctor in this episode, and they can't get through some barrier. There's Claire Oswald again with him. We have I do like that shot. It's a good.
Yeah. Okay. So they that's the other thing. This place has a beam or something. You can't lie in this town. It is impossible for you to tell a falsehood.
For whatever reason, the Cybermen have to send in a Cyberman that doesn't use technology or something. So they send in a wooden Cyberman that uses a flamethrower. This is the stupidest thing I have ever seen in the history of anything. No.
This is Trenzalore, right? Everybody knows that this is where the Doctor dies, and all this prophecy about this and everything, and they're trying to prevent like the end of the universe, right?
Okay.
So there is not allowed to be any technology here.
Okay.
So in other words, his sonic screwdriver isn't supposed to work.
Right.
The Cybermen aren't supposed to work. So the only way a Cyberman can get in is if he's made out of wood and gears and stuff.
And what kind of weapon does he use?
A flamethrower. Yeah.
So something made out of wood is using a flamethrower. Now, if he had maybe caught on fire that instant and just burned away, that might have been kind of funny. But that's not what they do. This wouldn't work. It would catch on fire, and that would be the end of it. Well, he has a flame retardant substance on the wood that doesn't let it... Shut up.
I don't know. I think if you're going to make a Cyberman out of wood, I'd make it out of a petrified wood.
Okay, I don't...
You can't burn petrified wood.
This is stupid. It's just stupid. Okay, Doctor gets really old because he's been there so long. He's actually just going to die of old age.
Yes.
And then,
yes, he is.
And then Clara... Oswald.
But Clara talks to the crack in the wall where she's able to talk to the Time Lords and says, help him. He's helped you so many times, help him. So they send him another set of regenerations.
They never do for anyone, but they did it for the Doctor, probably because...
Well, they did it for the Master.
Yeah, but that was
because it suited them. And they need the Doctor to come help get them out of wherever.
I thought it was a reward for basically saving Gallifrey.
Well, that's what they say, but the reality is the ulterior motive is we need the Doctor to come get us out of whatever limbo they're in.
So that's the Christmas episode. All right. Goodbye, Matt Smith.
Generates into
Peter Capaldi. I like these two together. I think this is a good companion Doctor set. Again, people are still ragging on Clara Oswald, but she's no longer...
Why is she still there after she sacrificed herself? Because they had to bring her back. Because I don't know. I guess, Steven Moffat liked her so much or whatever. I don't know.
I don't know if that's them from an episode. That's just them on a set, but I like the
I
picture of
don't
the
know.
two of them there. Clara Oswald. I remember this one episode. She's like, "I'll time travel with you, but I have a life to live outside of this, so we can go on our little trips. And then I'm going to come back."
But you got to drop me off. I'm a school teacher.
I'm a school teacher.
You remember where she's a school teacher at?
No.
The Coal Hill School. The
Oh,
same school that the doctor,
the granddaughter went to. Okay.
Right.
I like this episode because it's like she wants to go see Robin Hood. The doctor is insisting that Robin Hood doesn't exist. He's a legend, a myth, doesn't exist.
No, he exists. He's just gay.
That wasn't established in this episode. What are you talking about?
It wasn't? I thought it was.
No, it wasn't. Maid Marian is in this episode at the end. What are you thinking of?
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of
James the First. Oh,
sorry.
No, they didn't establish. I'm sure there was some. No, you're probably thinking of Isaac Newton. That was later.
I mean, from this point on, everybody's gay, I think.
Okay. Anyway, he shoots anyway, can we keep quiet? I kind of like this episode. He shoots an arrow at the TARDIS. Turns out that Robin Hood is in fact real, and the doctor is so annoyed by this. Remember?
Yeah.
It's funny when they were showing different actors in the TARDIS playing. Oh, many actors have played Robin over the years, and then you see Patrick Troughton in the Robin Hood outfit. Because I guess he played Robin Hood at one point. But here we go. This is them. This is so ridiculous that I was happy it wasn't the Robin Hood from the BBC Robin Hood. That would have made me angry if they had done a crossover that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, he meets Robin Hood. And Clara.
As I recall, this guy too had some sort of a weird timey-wimey storyline that went nowhere.
No, he didn't. Did he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Oh, he died that I remember. We'll get into this.
It was dumb, and they kind of paradoxed it. It was weird.
I think he ends up in the TARDIS at some point. I don't remember. Anyway, I don't know. Here's the thing with him, okay? He was she actually falls in love. It looks like she might actually end up getting married and starting a relationship with this man. And it was interesting because the doctor, when he goes to the school, he sees her. He sees like one of the other teachers who looks like a guy cosplaying as Matt Smith, right? He has the same haircut, and he's like, she says, "I'm seeing someone." Oh, I know who you're seeing. Wears the bow tie, and he has the big hair in front. And he thinks that she's dating this guy that looks like his previous incarnation, right?
Right.
It was a little joke they had. I thought it was funny. I don't know. But no, it turns out she's dating him, and he doesn't like this guy. I forget. I should know who this guy is, this character's name is. But he didn't like him. And, because I think he was a soldier in Afghanistan or something, right? Before he became a school teacher. And he doesn't like that. You should be dating a military guy. And, and then this guy looks at the doctor and says, you sound like an officer. Because he basically pointed out that, this guy has also been in war. He could tell. He could tell by that. And they had a bit of friction there.
Yep.
But throughout this season, there is hints of a new villain, or maybe not a new villain, coming through.
Yeah.
Her name is Missy.
Yep.
Played by... Why do I always forget actors' names? Anyway...
Yeah, somebody in the chat will tell us, I'm sure.
Yeah, find the actress for Missy. I'll probably think of her in a minute.
Gomez. Gomez?
Michelle Gomez?
Michelle Gomez,
I think. Yes. So here we go. And of course, she has this big plan all throughout the season, and she's going to gathers up a bunch of Cybermen, and I think she basically says, "I'm going to give them to you, Doctor. You can do with them whatever you want," right? Because she's
right.
I don't know if she has a sort of fixation on him, because we find out she used to be the Master, right? She's a future incarnation of the Master, now calling herself Missy.
Right. Master, mistress.
I guess I forgot to put this image in here. I meant to include this. Her fiance, but going back to her fiance, he ends up dying in a car crash, right? Or some accident, and just dies of natural causes.
Yeah.
Well, not natural causes, an accident, but she's kind of heartbroken after that. But he ends up getting brought back as a Cyberman. And the interesting thing is, the Cybermen start revolting against all this and actually start protecting people. And interesting, one of the Cybermen ends up being the corpse of what was previously the Brigadier, remember?
Yeah.
That was nice. And he also, I think, saves Clara before they finally do away with. I don't know. It was all right. He was hitting the street. Okay, yes. Michelle Gomez is awesome. Here's the deal. Normally, this would have made me angry, them turning the master, making the master female. And people are, well, the master's been like a cat person at some point. Is it really such a stretch that he would? And normally I would say this, but Michelle Gomez was just so good that I let it go. I kind of felt she could have been her own villain, though. But, oh well.
Actually, they didn't have to make it the master. It totally could have been the Ronnie.
Or just make it another villain. Like, I think I always talk about the terrible Zodin, and I don't know who she is. I hate that they did that to the Brigadier, that they made him a Cyberman, and then I guess he doesn't. I don't know. Like I said, it was the first Capaldi season. Then we get to the first Christmas episode of Capaldi, where he meets an elderly Clara Oswald on Christmas Day Eve.
Right.
And she never got married or never fell in love again, but she said, she taught all over Europe. She learned how to fly. And I'm thinking, you know what? I think the show, or maybe the Doctor was thinking this was sort of a tragic end. I don't see this as a tragic end.
Yeah, she had a good life.
I think just leave her be.
Yeah.
It's sad that she never found love again, but that happens with people sometimes. And at least she was useful. She probably helped a lot of kids out.
For F's sake, at least he was there to see her one last time. He didn't do that for Sarah Jane. He didn't do that for the Brigadier. He didn't do that for so many other companions.
And he meets Santa Claus in this episode, who might be the actual Santa Claus, or Father Christmas, maybe that's the proper term. Yes, but played by
that's the bloke. That actor's the one that's
with
Simon Pegg and all. Yes. Yeah, Shaun of the Dead and all that. Yeah.
Did you ever see? Was it At the World's End, which was the third in that series? Because you had, and I thought it was interesting how him and Simon Pegg flipped roles. In that movie, how Simon Pegg was the disaster slacker.
I was disappointed by that particular Christmas episode because, well, I mean, it's overall a good story, but you find out who Santa is in context of his story, and it's disappointing because I was all excited over the possibility that Father Christmas was another Time Lord. That would have made so much sense. A bag that's bigger on the inside and manipulate time to travel all over the world
bag of
in
holding.
one night. Yeah, no, that's not what it was.
He certainly wasn't there for Adric. Well, you know what?
Right.
Adric was the Wesley Crusher of
Well, he was there. That's more than he could say for the Brigadier or for Sarah Jane.
Okay, so here we go. We have the
Sonic sunglasses.
Yeah, this is when this is when Steven Moffat he was trolling the audience, and people were not happy about that. Knock it off. But here we have our big premiere where you see the episode starts and there's this horrible war-torn planet, and they're shooting bows and arrows at fighter planes, and it's really weird and creepy. And you see this little kid, and he gets grabbed by this hand in the ground, right?
Yep.
And the Doctor shows up and he says, "Boy, don't move. I'll help you out. What's your name?" And then what does the boy say?
Davros.
And as soon as he says that, it's so chilling. And you see the look on the Doctor's face, and you're like, what does he do here?
Yeah.
What does he do here? He could just leave and leave the kid to his own fate.
Yep.
Or maybe you don't do that.
Daleks
maybe
would never be invented.
Yes.
Only if the kid dies.
Right.
Because if he's left there by the Doctor, then he just gets ticked off. And it's
that's how
I'm going
he
to strike
becomes
out.
Davros. Yeah, exactly.
But does saving him turn him into a gentler, kinder person?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the noodle scrambler. Yeah.
Okay, so here we have then of course he gets summoned to Skaro, I think, by this horrible snake-like creature. I should have had a picture of them. But I like the fact that there are other evil creatures that still work with the Daleks, which I thought was interesting, because they sort of toyed with it. Even though the Daleks want to exterminate everything, I like the idea that there are other evil creatures that would still work with them, at least on a temporary basis. We have Davros here again, and of course he's doing his whole... they're doing the whole thing. Well, am I really the villain, or am I the hero in my own mind? And you're the villain, Doctor. And they do this back and forth where he says, "I thought the Daleks we're a force for good. And then they do this whole thing, and the Doctor's almost conceding some points to Davros because it's like, here I am with my arch nemesis. And I love the fact that Missy overhears this. Says, who's his arch nemesis? Like, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Wait a minute now.
Because Missy's stuck on Scarrow too. It was wonderful when Missy shows up because you have Unit, right? And they're seeing a message broadcast, and it says, "You're so fine. You're so fine, you blow my mind." And it's like, what is this on the computer screen? It says, "Hey, Missy. Hey, Missy." And Missy's back, and she starts killing.
Yeah.
She starts killing, I think, Unit people because she's trying to get the Doctor's attention, right? Because he's like, "Where's the Doctor?" It's like, Davros is as tiresome of the Borg Queen. I like Davros. I'm sorry. I know some people. I did appreciate the fact that New Who waited to bring him back. But wait, let's go back here. I'm going forward too much. But no, this episode was kind of annoying me because it's like, no, Davros is the horrible villain. The Doctor is not evil, blah, blah. And then, of course, it turns out this is all a big fake out. The Davros was just trying to lure the Doctor to do something so he could basically steal his regenerative powers and become restored again. But then the Doctor said, and restore the Daleks. And the Doctor says, yes, but I knew you were going to do this, and I have a countermeasure. So things are back to normal at the end of the episode. So I was kind of getting annoyed, but then, things get reset to where they're supposed to be. But Davros being the villain. Looks like Missy is going to do something with the Daleks, and I don't know if that's ever touched on later, because we'll get to that.
Yeah.
This was the big Zygon two-parter. You said that you liked this episode. There's the daughter of Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart. She now runs Unit. Yes.
Yep. The Zygons have infiltrated Unit.
Well, they're living in British society. Some are trying to live in there as refugees disguised as humans, so they can just live on Earth. And that's all we want to do.
And obviously, to take the form of a human, they have to keep that human alive. So,
well, I didn't get that impression that they were doing that in this episode, at least as far as the ones that were just trying to live with humans in peace. I get the impression that
they're stealing somebody's life.
That this was sort of a commentary on the modern refugee thing that was, I guess, going on at the time. But some of the Zygons are wanting to kill all the humans and take over. Others just want to live in peace, and it's this weird thing. Yes. So I don't know, might explain this. That was where we left off with the Master during the Pertwee era.
But then you also have Zygons who don't remember that they are the Zygons.
Oh, maybe that's what happened. They had to wipe their memory and think they're humans. Yes. I don't remember. I just remember this episode. This episode, this was the... You don't remember this one. I'm kind of pouring through these Capaldi era episodes, but this was the episode where they go on this space station in the future where the humans are using a machine. They go inside and they don't have to sleep. They come out again, they're refreshed. So they don't have to dream. And then something manifests because of that.
Yeah, do they get all psychotic because of the lack of sleep?
Things start forming out of that. Like, look at this. He's made out of sand, this horrible thing. This is how the episode ended. The reason I love this episode is because the Doctor goes in, and usually he has to stop the monsters, save the day. This episode ends with him taking the surviving humans, getting in the TARDIS, and just getting out of there. He can't fix this. Yeah. And this horrible monster is left behind talking to the audience at the end of the episode, and you see his face kind of falling apart in sand. This is one of the head scientists turned into this thing, and that's how it ends. Very creepy. I thought this was a good episode. I don't know.
Yeah, it was pretty wild, yeah.
But again, War Screech is the magic of this episode, if that's what you're thinking of. Let's get
the whole make a decision, and that was really good. That whole with the Zygon. Stupid, dumb. I don't like this.
You and I are in disagreement here. So
she shouldn't still be here. She should have sacrificed herself to be dead, and we should have another companion at this point.
This season gets ragged on by Who fans. I actually like this season. For starters, most of the episodes were two-parters, so it felt like a callback to the classic Who I grew up with.
That's true. Yeah.
And then we get to this episode. Clara has been acting very reckless this whole season, thinking she can do anything. Like there's one episode where
she's got this arrogance. She feels like the Doctor will fix everything.
No, I think that Clara, in some way, I don't want to say she has a death wish. Something's wrong. I think she lost her boyfriend, her fiance last season. She grieved, and I think we saw one possibility of that life with her just going out teaching and doing that. And so the doctor intervenes, takes her on adventures again. But this is my opinion. This is something he shouldn't have done. And
Yeah,
maybe
no,
I'm reading
I
things that
agree
aren't
with you
there.
on that, but
He should
no,
have left her alone to,
I
grow
disagree
old
with
and
your
just get.
assessment of her mentality. She doesn't have a death wish. She has an arrogance that she thinks she can't die.
Okay.
She thinks that the doctor will always fix it.
Okay. Someone has I remember this guy in this planet, this teen or whatever, has this death mark on her and says, well, I'll
Right.
have the death mark transplanted to me and then the doctor can fix it. But she shouldn't have done it because more time ran out when she did that, I think, or something happened where it's like,
Yeah.
I can't get rid of this, or I'm not going to have time to do this. Why did you do that silly thing?
Yeah.
And then she's like, I'm ready to die. And then the doctor was trying to figure out this was some kind of puzzle set up for him by whoever I guess the antagonist is going to be in this season. And then she basically dies on the spot, and then he has to go. He ends up having. I think he ends up becoming a prisoner somewhere and sent to someplace,
Yep.
right? Because he can't, and
Yep.
he has to leave, and he can't even do anything about this.
Yep.
It's been a long time since I've watched this. I hated that episode. Clara, okay, but the next one gets dumb. Well, which one are you talking about? Are you talking about this one?
This
I
one
loved this episode.
This was actually pretty cool. This was a little contrived, but everything was.
He's stuck in a maze in a way.
He is, and he's literally dying and being reborn over and over. He doesn't remember
dying and
his
being reborn
previous
over and over again. Yes, he and every time he gets to this end of this thing before this creature kills him, he like can punch this sheer like rock face, right?
Right.
And the idea is he's doing this over and over again and dying again and being reborn again over and over again. And each time he punches it, over time it breaks down a little bit, right?
Just like sand eroding.
He's
punching a rock wall and he's literally breaking through it over maybe thousands, millions of years. Many iterations of the doctor.
Yes. Probably millions or billions of years. I don't know.
Probably.
This is going on forever. It's like sheer diamond he's punching, it looks like.
Yep.
It finally breaks down. He walks out into the light. And where is he? He's on Gallifrey.
Yep.
This was the Time Lords.
Yep. The Time Lords had imprisoned him, right.
And he is not happy. He is angry. He is again, another companion gets killed because of their interference. I felt this sort of happened with Perry, even though it was revealed that she wasn't killed. And part of me kept thinking when this happened, he was on Gallifrey, I got all excited, and I was expecting some crusty old Time Lord saying, I know you think because you saved Gallifrey that you can just do whatever you want or something. I was expecting something like that. It's not as cut and dry as that, but yeah, he basically, I know some people hated this episode.
So I recall we have a couple of Time Lords here. One of them gets killed and regenerates into a woman.
Yes.
A white male regenerates into a black female because
Cynthia Erivo.
Here we go now.
It wouldn't surprise me if it was, because she goes, how could you handle all that ego? Remember she said that?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a knock at
man, right? Man bad.
People got angry at that. This is why a lot of Who fans were angry with this episode, but I still kind of like this season. He's able to get Clara back by doing something to her, but basically he says, no, you're not actually living anymore. You're just suspended at the point before you die.
We're taking you out of time. You are going to die, but you've got some bonus time in between.
It's a very weird finale, but I kind of like this season. Okay, to clarify the fall of this episode, the prison episode is fantastic. Even the start of his escape was fantastic. Facing the Time Lords was great too, but when he saves Clara on this crap,
I agree.
They're too skittish about killing companions now.
And this really does kind of undermine everything you were saying about, the death of Clara. This is the second damn time she's supposed to have died, and they freaking find a way to bring her back again.
But she's not really back. That's what's so weird. It's like she's a ghost. That's how
doesn't
I can see
matter.
her now.
It doesn't matter. It's time to move on to another damn companion.
She does something where now he can't ever recognize her anymore.
This is the same diner that Matt Smith met up with Rory and Amy and River before he gets killed by the other River in the spaceman.
Okay. And then this is actually turns out to be a TARDIS, and she's there with the girl from Game of Thrones, who I didn't bother talking about this season, but she was on it too.
Yeah, that was a story too.
She called herself Me.
Another immortal for whatever reason.
Nah, there was a reason. Anyway, but I don't hate this season like other people do. I thought this was a return to form in some ways. Maybe in others, I understand the frustration some people had with this, but I like the idea of the Time Lords being antagonists once again, because not villains, antagonists, that's be a different thing. Anyway, but moving on to
yeah.
I like this.
I do too.
And she's like, well, I only have one night left or something.
Yeah.
But the doctor says, yeah, but nights on this planet last for 50 years or something, right? He makes some point. And I think he's going to be her, in many respects, he's her husband, basically. Or something.
Right.
I like these two. These actually, I feel like now they're kind of aged appropriately for each other, too, if you think about it. It's,
yes,
it looks,
exactly right.
This was kind of sweet, this episode. So, yeah.
As I recall, this is the last time she'll see the doctor before her next stop being the library.
I think so, yeah. Which actually, that's okay, because now it says, oh, you're so young here. Because the last time she saw me, he was older. Okay. So I stand corrected with my complaint earlier. Okay.
Exactly.
See, I can admit when I'm wrong. Moving on to the something of Dr. Mysterio.
This was actually kind of a funny, cool kind of episode.
Goofy.
It was goofy. Yes, it was.
This is timey-wimey. This is their take on Superman, basically.
Yeah,
if Superman existed in the Doctor Who universe,
right?
And you have this little kid. He says, "Well, I want to be like this character in my comic book." And like some rock from space gives you anything you wish for. It's like, oh, well, now you're going to be a superhero. It's like, so he gets like the flight. The only thing I did like about this episode was that I think it starts out where you have the evil, where it looks like you have the evil corporation working with the aliens, and it's like, no, I don't want to be working with the aliens. Help me.
Yeah,
that's because you thought this was like going to be like a Lex Luthor type,
right?
It's going to be, but no. Anyway, I don't know. It was okay. Who's the guy on the left again?
I forget. He
ends up
becoming a recurring character. I don't remember. I think so.
Okay. But they were trying to go for the 1970s Superman feel with this episode. Did you know that?
Exactly.
Yeah. Clark Kent, Lois Lane sort of thing.
Right.
All right. Now we have an introduction of a new companion, Bill.
Mel. Yeah.
I thought it was Bill. Was it Mel?
Bill, whatever. It was a boy's name, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Well, it could be Billy Piper. That's
what's important is she's gay. That's all you need to know about the character. She's gay and she's black. That's okay. That's the only thing that's relevant here. Now, she's got huge eyebrows too.
Listen, it's okay. Listen, now to be fair, I have not actually finished watching this season because I was late watching this season, and that was around the time that Jodie Whittaker got announced, and I got angry. And this is why I got angry, and people can disagree with me, but I'm entitled to my opinion. My opinion, the Doctor has always been a masculine character. He's always been a character.
Well, let's talk more about the real hero of this show, the gay female companion.
Okay. Yes, she's a lesbian. You had Captain Jack. He was sort of bi, right? So it's not the first time he's had I didn't necessarily have a problem with Bill. In fact, I remember when I found out she's a lesbian. Well, at least now we're going to have a companion that's finally not fawning over the Doctor for a change.
Until he becomes a female.
Yes. So, I don't know. I to be fair, though, I have to say I stopped watching this with the Whittaker announcement. Did you watch this season? What did you think?
I did watch this season. I didn't care for it, but I did see it through.
Okay. And you have... the big finale, right? Where
and what's this is and you'll notice that you got the Sims master as well as the Missy master. There is a little bit of the two masters in this episode, along with the original
Mondasian
style
Cybermen.
of Cybermen. Yeah, exactly.
And I think the big secret is, who's this Cyberman? Where is my companion? And then it goes, oh, it turns out she was turned into a Cyberman. I think by and the black lesbian Cyberman. She could have joined the Centauran and the Silurian group.
Yeah,
No, I'm kidding.
exactly.
That could have been on the spin-off series. But I don't. I'm not as. I don't. I mean, for what I saw, Bill, I didn't have anything against her. I just let's see. It's a exercise intersectionality, cramming as many marginalized identities for people: black, lesbian, female. Well, interesting point. What Berkeley would call the trifecta.
Yep.
There is stuff in this season that starts bothering me, though, because I know when they go back in time to Victorian times, the villain in the episode is an outright racist, as the critical drinker would say.
Yes.
And I felt like Doctor Who never really touched on those issues before. It wasn't relevant. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Like, he made a point with Martha Jones. Oh, I'm back in time. Oh, it's fine. There, there are even black people back in Elizabethan England. Stop freaking out or something. Like, he was trying to make a point that no one's coming after you. And I kind of felt that, okay, the show's just not going to touch on those issues, which is fine. But then they do kind of touch on it this season, and he makes some comment about, I don't know, they're little nudges here. This is, I think, probably is where the woke starts setting in more. But again, I didn't finish watching this season, but you said you didn't care for it.
No, I didn't. Yeah, it was definitely getting more and more woke as it went.
Is the redemption arc for Missy? Is that what I got the impression of?
Yes, there was. She so keep in mind too, again, Missy is a future incarnation after the Sims Doctor. The Sims Doctor went through his whole, we find out why the Master was driven insane. He was driven insane by the Time Lords. When last we saw him, he was going into the Time War again with Rassilon, trying to kill them all. So we don't know what happens to him after that. Somehow he ends up here, and he's still the Master. He's still the bad guy. And Missy has kind of gotten past, she's no longer hearing the beating in her head and stuff. The insanity is more becoming an act, because that's who she's been, rather than something that's really acting on her anymore. And she's starting to come around to the Doctor's way of thinking on a lot of things. And the whole last two Gallifreyans kind of, anyway, they were always, it was implied that before the Master became the Master and before the Doctor ran, they were like brothers. And that
school
relationship seems to be, seems to come back, full circle. And Sim's Master can't abide that. So he kills Missy.
For people concerned about the race issue, they had no problem cutting down a black actor's performance in the War Games in color. I've heard they're colorizing old black and white episodes. I don't know why they're doing that. I think that's
well, in a lot of cases, what they're doing is because the episode is, or the story arc episodes are missing. So they have to reconstruct them anyway. They reconstruct them using animation.
No. I'm talking about existing serials that still exist in black and white, but now they're colorizing them. I'm not talking about the recreated.
Yes, I understand them, but things like the War Games, there were episodes missing that.
No, that was complete. They still had that.
Really?
Yeah. No, War Games is one of the few that were complete from the Troughton era. I
may not have been caught up on that.
Yeah, but the problem
it seems like they're finding new episodes all the time.
Yeah, they are. But with this one is what they do is they're taking the black and white episodes and now they're colorizing them, which I think is stupid.
I agree. I always thought it was stupid when Ted Turner was doing that to black and white films.
Leave them alone. It's a different era.
I said jokingly, and only half joking, they're going to do that to Wizard of Oz someday.
Yes. Here's the big series Capaldi finale with a return of another Doctor.
Yeah, so they've this is what, the third recasting or the third actor to play.
Hold on, I like the actor they had. First Doctor Who actor recast.
He was also in Game of Thrones.
Yes, he was. He
He was
was.
the one responsible for the red wedding.
Yes, he was. Oh, what were they called again? The phrase.
Yeah.
Let's see here. David Bradley took on the role in 2017 and 2020. I like the fact that David Bradley gets to play a good character for once. He's always playing these
Yeah.
creepy characters. I liked his casting as the first Doctor.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like
Hey,
the
he was spot on. He did a great job.
Ted didn't add extra stuff to the films. What? Oh, they're adding extra stuff to the episodes. Okay. I wasn't aware of this.
Well, we were talking about that with the one Tom Baker episode where they had a special edition where you could choose to watch the original version or the one with new CG.
Yeah, but I think what he's saying is they're adding actors to make the casting more diverse.
I don't know.
Which annoys me because
I hadn't heard about that.
The BBC even back then were trying to be as diverse as they could be. This is what I don't understand with. Never mind. I don't feel like getting into this. Anyway, look at this. We have the finale though.
Yeah, I don't even remember the details, but Darth Plato brings up Capaldi throws the first Doctor under the bus. He says something pretty disparaging about the first Doctor, and I'm like, what's the point in bringing him back if you're just doing it to shit him?
I think he makes a sexist remark or something toward Bill, and like he makes some This is where the woke it does actually start sleeping in during the Capaldi era. I love Capaldi as the Doctor, but the stuff starts seeping in, and then of course we get the big regeneration sequence at the end, and I guess Bill gets turned into something so she can be with the girl she had a crush on that turned into the sludge monster in the first episode, and then I don't know. I don't remember what happened. I did a synopsis, and then he becomes Jodie Whittaker, and you tried with Whittaker. What?
No, he doesn't. I just feel like he should have died at Trenzalore, and that was the end. I did give Jodie Whittaker a try. The woke crap just got worse and worse, but then when we get to the Timeless Child and they completely retcon everything about the Doctor going all the way back to the beginning, I said, that's it. I'm done. This isn't Doctor Who anymore. This is Doctor whatever the fuck it is you've created. I'm done. Fuck you, chin balls. Fuck you, RTD. When you come back, you should have just stayed away. This is all the Doctor there is. It ends with Capaldi. I'd rather say it ends with Matt Smith. But whatever you decide, there is no more Doctor Who after this. Doctor Who is dead.
I wish I could show you the clip of the Pip and Jane Baker, one of the writers of they're in like the Colin Baker era of Doctor Who, and there's a young man who's a member of the Doctor Who fan club and saying, well, we feel the episodes have not been written real well lately, and then you realize that this young man is Christian Ball, who would later go on to completely destroy the show. And he's like some teenager yelling at Pip and Jane Baker, the two writers, who I actually think weren't that bad writers, like compared to what we got later on. Troy Unplugged, but this is it for Doctor Who, our Doctor Who discussion. What have we learned?
I hope that everyone that came along with us, those of you that were Doctor Who fans, enjoyed the walk down memory lane. Those that weren't huge Doctor Who fans, maybe you got to see what we've all seen in Doctor Who. Maybe you might want to consider revisiting it. I understand that it's no longer on BritBox, but apparently they've brought it back to Amazon Prime. I think you can watch Doctor Who.
Here's what's on Amazon Prime. New Who is on Amazon Prime, from Eccleston to Whittaker.
Okay, forget it then. Yeah.
On BritBox, you have Classic Who, but they don't have the reconstructed episodes on there. The ones where they use the animatics. Some of those are on there, but they don't have the complete yet. Of course, maybe they haven't redone them all yet. That's another reason. Because I noticed
there is
Shada wasn't on there.
A lot of those are available on YouTube. If you're really hurting, there's always somebody who has it on physical media. So,
I'll also say, for all our criticism of the BBC, they do have quite a number of official Doctor Who episodes from the classic era on YouTube. Not full seasons, but a number of
Right.
hits from each Doctor's era that you can watch all the way through,
Yeah.
including Genesis of the Daleks and from Tom Baker, Inferno from John Pertwee. Those are two of the best serials, I think, from those Doctors. War Games, I think, is on there from Pachter Troughton. So you do have a lot of hit serial, some of the best serials on there. Oddly enough, I think the Davison era has the worst serial selection from YouTube, but I would recommend maybe Frontios. Check that Davidson episode out from there. Yep.
Didn't mean that I hit the wrong button. My apologies.
Anyway, did you like the Capaldi era logo I just had up there? Was it okay?
I did. Yeah.
I like the time gears, the clock gears, and stuff in the intro. Anyway, that's how it ends. I felt Capaldi should have been better than it was. I felt Matt Smith should have been better. There's some great ideas in the Smith era. I was picking on it at the time, but I just wish these villains and monsters had been better established. I think Madame Kavarian could have been a great repeated villain if they had, there's your female villain. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Troy doesn't know how to drive.
Not in his current condition.
Yeah, well, no, I wouldn't get behind the wheel now, but I'm not. Oh, I see, because I hit the wrong button.
The driver's seat here, that's what he meant, because you hit the wrong thing.
It's rather a running joke with me and Troy that I drive better than most people out there, and I don't even have a license.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly true. Yep, let's wrap this up really quick. Join me tomorrow over on Real Wade Nation Gaming Clips. I will be on his Rumble channel tomorrow for a rewatch of Tron and Tron Legacy, starting at 2 Central, 3 Eastern. Keep an eye on my community tab. I will send you a link so that you can find it as soon as I get it. Tomorrow evening, 9 Central, 10 Eastern, over on Big Al Presents Films with Friends, The Incredible Shrinking Man. I guess his movies this month are all themed around people shrinking. Miniature May is what he's calling it. Sunday, Boomer, what are we talking about on Geeky Geezers?
Lots to talk about on Geeky Geezers on Sunday, including Xbox raising prices. That's the big one. Apparently they're doing a live action version of Gargoyles. I don't know, maybe I'll do Gargoyles for Good Old Days, that episode. And there's a bunch of, unfortunately, some more celebrity deaths that we have to talk about. And
thank you, Keely Chow. Jason of Sci-Fi for Me TV made a video called Bunker Bit, How to Retcon Doctor Who. That's really the only way they're going to fix Doctor Who. It looks like Doctor Who's being canceled at the end of the Ncuti Gatwa second season, and they're going to sit on it. They will sit on it. It will go into hiatus, and if someone wants to bring it back, it's got to be retconned. If they don't do it, then it will never come back. The fans will never return. So
bring Primeval back. Or maybe don't bring it back. Maybe I like the fact that it's not tainted.
Monday, I will be starting my new afternoon 1 hour live stream, Liquid Lunch with Last Call.
Otherwise called Rambling with Troy.
Yeah, exactly. Keep an eye out for that. And then members will join me Monday night at an early time, 7 Central, 8 Eastern, because you have decided we are going to watch The Hobbit, the book edit. Fan Film edits the 3 Hobbit movies down to basically what would actually be the book story of The Hobbit. But it is a 4-hour watch, so we're going to be starting a little bit early. And then Tuesday, Live from Sparkwood in 21. Join all of us here on the panel along with Deleted Scenes for Live from Sparkwood in 21 at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern. Of course, Deleted Scenes says he will be late for the movie tomorrow because he will be at the mystery movie. That's fine. Totally understand. You will have, you have the link to come in when you get there. Remember, membership on my channel is only $2 a month, and you get to be a part of some really great watch parties. Some of them like on Monday. Unless you know how to find them, these are fan edits that aren't generally available. So membership has its perks. And then Tuesday after Live from Sparkwood in 21 on my channel, the return of Blake 7. You guys have waited long enough. You've been on a cliffhanger. The first episode of episode 3. When last we left the crew of the Liberator, they were engaging an alien invading force from another galaxy, squaring off on the side of the Federation to protect our galaxy. What happened to them? You'll find out. How to Successfully Kill a Franchise with J.J. Abrams, Alex Kurtzman, Chris Chinballs, RTD, and Kathleen Kennedy, with guest lecturer Paul Feig. Yeah, exactly. Well, Paul Feig, they kicked him to the curb, and they did exactly what I said they got to do with Doctor Who. They retconned. They went back and they said, forget about that. We're going back and just doing a straight sequel. And they got everything back on track. So,
that's what you do.
Technically, he almost killed it, but fortunately succeeded in making his own. Okay, there you go. So yeah. So Blake 7 on Tuesday. Thursday, Netters Network, 9 Central, 10 Eastern.
And I will actually have a special guest.
You have a very special guest on Thursday.
That will be Curtis Selby, launching his new channel.
Excellent.
See Here, Citizen.
Yep. There we go. So Curtis Selby giving us the scoop and the lowdown on the new channel on Thursday on Netters Network. And that brings us around to next Friday, and we'll decide what we're doing between now and then.
Drinking.
I'll be drinking, but Boomer will be, designatedly driving. So we'll see where we're going next week, Friday.
Sounds good.
And that is the week in review. Anything that I missed, Boomer?
No, like I said, look forward to seeing y'all on Sunday, and we'll have some good talks to talk about. Apparently, a lot of layoffs over at Polygon. I forgot to mention that. So
there you go. Netter, any last thoughts? Any last words before we close up?
I love you.
I love you too, my dear. And I know we all love you guys in the chat. You guys really do make this possible. Guys, seriously, more than ever, I cannot express my gratitude. That's why I pull in people like this.
Thank you.
I'm hitting the wrong button when I want to come. But thank you so much. Your super chats, your memberships, your super stickers, and even just your liking, sharing, it all makes a huge difference. The encouragement you give me in the chat, the fact that you just keep coming back, because I could not do it without you guys. You guys are absolutely the best. Thank you so much. Guys, have a wonderful one. We'll see you on the next one. Salute.
Good night, ladies. Good night, sir. Hit it, sweetheart.
The neon lights are fading. Closing time is near. Whispers in the corners, secrets shared sincere. The bartender's polishing the final glass. Time slips away like moving through the grass. Last call for alcohol, make your dreams come true. One more round, friends, from me and you. Let's toast to the night, to the stories we've spun. Here's to the laughter and to what's begun. The shadows are dancing as we linger still. Every clink of a glass, a memory to distill. Beneath this smoky haze, our feelings they unfurl. A tapestry of whispers in this corner of the world. The jukebox serenades us with a final tune, crooning to the lonely and the lovers under the moon. With every soft note, the end draws ever near. But in this fleeting moment, there's nothing to fear. Last call for alcohol, make your dreams come true.